The Electoral Commission reiterated that it remains committed to transparency, stating, as has always been the case, the Commission will provide ballot statistics to the candidates, political parties and all printing houses before the printing of ballot papers starts. Printing of ballot papers will only commence after ballot statistics have been provided to all stakeholders. The Commission will not depart from this practice. We urge the public and all stakeholders to trust the Electoral Commission to deliver a transparent, credible, free and fair elections in December 2024. Meanwhile, an advocacy group, Election Watch Ghana, has submitted a right to information request to the Electoral Commission seeking comprehensive details regarding the contracts for printing ballots and notices of poll. The request, made under the Right to Information Act 2019, Act 989, and in accordance with Article 21F of the 1992 Constitution, calls for specific information about the procurement process. This includes the tender publication date, details of the companies that submitted bids, and the criteria used to select winning contractors. This request follows the Electoral Commission's announcement on Wednesday, October 9, that it would begin printing ballot papers and notices of polls. Election Watch Ghana is also requesting a full breakdown of the bidding process, including the names and details of the bidding companies, the methodology and criteria used to evaluate the bids, minutes of meetings where political parties were informed of the final selections, and copies of communication between the Electoral Commission and the shortlisted companies. Away from the Electoral Commission, the Catholic Archdiocese of Accra, in collaboration with the Conference of Major Superiors of Religious Ghana and the Catholic lay faithful and professionals, is set to commence its environmental prayer protest walk against Galamsey today, October 11. The aim of this walk is to take a stance against the devastating effects of Galamsey in Ghana and advocate for immediate action by government to protect the environment and Galamsey, promote sustainable development and ensure a healthy future for generations to come. The protest is expected to begin at Holy Spirit Cathedral at Dabraka at 10 a.m. amidst the walk through some of the major landmarks in Accra, including Castle Road, Ridge Roundabout, Parliament House and Oxford Street, before ending the walk at Christ the King Parish in Cantonment. A petition will be presented to the President Akufo-Addo at Jubilee House during the event, demanding swift action to address the crisis. In anticipation of this, the Ghana Police Service has in a press release served notice to the public that there will be temporary traffic hold-ups in the affected areas within the city as part of security measures to put in place for the walk. The National Communications Authority has started implementing the ECOWAS free roaming initiative to help reduce the cost of telecommunication services for citizens traveling outside Ghana. The agreement currently among Ghana, Benin and Togo would allow citizens in these countries to make and receive calls, send SMS and access the internet at an affordable rate by mobile network operators. The Deputy Minister of Communications, Charles Ichampong, speaking at the launch in Accra, said the initiative would deepen the existing relationship among Ghana, Benin and Togo. He noted that the free roaming initiative would enable affordable and seamless communication across the three West African borders and allow citizens to stay connected without the burden of high roaming charges or the inconvenience of multiple SIM cards. Beyond communication, he said, the agreement would have a rippling effect on cross-border trade, economic activities and encourage more travels within the ECOWAS sub-region. Mr. Champon called for stability and security of telecommunications network while the ECOWAS free roaming initiative was being implemented. He commended implementing partners in Ghana, Benin and Togo and urged other West African countries yet to implement the initiative to come on board. The Deputy Minister tasked stakeholders to adopt measures including conducting customer surveys and and establishing billing feedback services systems to monitor the success of the initiative. Dr. Joe Anoche, Director General for the NCA, said the authority would monitor usage of the ECOWAS free roaming initiative and gather feedback to inform future regulatory actions and decisions. In sports, the Black Stars were held to a goalless draw by Sudan in a crucial AFCON 2025 qualifiers fixture. Despite both teams showing flashes of brilliance, neither side was able to break the deadlock, resulting in a 0-0 outcome that leaves both teams with work to do in their upcoming matches. The Black Stars, who were hoping to secure a win to bolster their qualification campaign, dominated possession for much of the match. However, Sudan's defense remained resilient, blocking several key attempts from Ghana's attacking players. Both teams had chances to score, with Sudan threatening on the counter-attack, but strong defensive efforts from both sides ensured the scoreline remained unchanged. Ghana's head coach Otto Addo expressed disappointment at the results, acknowledging the team's inability to convert their chances into goals. He commended the Sudanese team for their tactical discipline, while also emphasizing the need for his players to sharpen their finishing in future games.
So now it pains even more. The Niger game pains even more. And also the last minute goal against Angola pains even more, because today again we did well, and there's nothing much I can say, and just the result, and this is the most important thing in football. It's not correct, and I think we deserve to win, but we didn't, and we will stay positive, and we will beat them away with the same performance, the same passion, the same creativity up front. We will beat them away. Surely we will try to train finishing and give them confidence. That's all. This was the only thing which was missing. The spirit was good, the passion was there, the defensive discipline was there. It's just about to finish the actions.
That's all for the headlines this morning. Up next is ABC in the Morning. Stay tuned.
One night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered by GIPC. It's time to honor Ghanaian companies that have stood the test of time, made an impact, and are blazing the trail in their respective industries. Join us for the 21st edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Palms at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Purchase your tickets now via the USSD short code *365*2100#. Alternatively, you can call 0243-534-559 or 0247-600-860 to RSVP. This event is under the auspices of the Office of the President, Ranking Partner, KPMG, Ticket Partner, COBA, Diamond Sponsors, Platinum Sponsors, Gold Sponsors, Supporting Sponsors, Beverage Sponsors, Media Partner, ABC News TV, Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
Amantin Agro-Processing Company Limited, we're producing 300 tons of industrial starch daily from 1,200 tons of fresh cassava.
Me won say nyado ani amat tractor etia ba yekrom ho amantin mansim bi say tractor si we say begu ho no nyado ano enti bra na ba ko e frɛ me say yɛpɛ sɛ yɛdɔ bankyeafoɔ no mede me nsa nyinaa so mu ɛnya gyidie mbɛhu ha sɛ adwuma no a yɛkɔ so no nti mede m'asase nyinaa bɛyɛ 18 acres ɛde dua a bankye no wɔnom adi kan baa mu no deɛ aboa wɔnom paa sɛ nti na mehu sɛ akokoa ɛne amante adwuma no aboa wɔnom nti na meso so mɛfoɔ so sɛ fa sa w'akyi ɛne afɛfrɛ so ɔno nso so mɛfoɔ so sɛ ɔso ɔbɛtumi ayɛ dɛn aboa yɛ
na bankye adwuma no baa he banyimfoɔ bɛma me teɛ na menim sɛ mmoa yɛ m nti mede me ho kɔdɔn bankyekuo no sɛ bankye no deɛ matim na menim sɛ nyame din mu nti ɛbɛyɛ
nanado one district fɛtrɛ no ɔde aba no ɔso yɛ nsa yie paa obiara mfa ne nsa nsom yie
ɔma mpanyini one district wɔaboa me paa
One night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered by GIPC. It's time to honor Ghanaian companies that have stood the test of time, made an impact, and are blazing the trail in their respective industries. Join us for the 21st edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Palms at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Purchase your tickets now via the USSD short code *365*2100#. Alternatively, you can call 0243-534-559 or 0247-600-860 to RSVP. This event is under the auspices of the Office of the President, Ranking Partner, KPMG, Ticket Partner, Koba, Diamond Sponsors, Platinum Sponsors, Gold Sponsors, Supporting Sponsors, Beverage Sponsors, Media Partner, ABC News TV, Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
Good morning. You're welcome to ABC in the Morning live on ABC News GH. I am Abna Mante. We are streaming live on YouTube, ABC News GH. That is our channel. You should subscribe to the channel so that you are abreast with all of what is happening here on ABC News GH. Also, visit our website www.abcnewsgh.com so that all of the news as it breaks, you will receive them. Today's show is packed. The stories are riveting and the discussions will be there. Discussions that you will enjoy. There's so many things that have taken over the airwaves. Today is Friday. We'll do what to unpack all of them before you go for your weekend. We'll be jumping straight into front story, but before that, Maya Angelou says that try to be a rainbow in somebody's cloud. Try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. What does it mean to be a rainbow? It means that you'll be that beautiful, bright thing that brightens up somebody's dark or gloomy life or gloomy day. So do what, if there's anything you can be in this life, be a rainbow in someone's cloud. Let someone remember you for being that rainbow in their cloud. Today is a great day. It will be a wonderful one, and I know that you'll be going into the weekend a happy person. Let's get straight into front story. You're welcome back. You're watching ABC in the Morning live on ABC News GH. Into front story. Yesterday, the world marked and celebrated World Mental Health Day. We celebrated World Mental Health Day, and the theme for the celebration is it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace. It is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace. And today we shine a light on the importance of mental health and mental health well-being and why it is needed in the workplace. We'll be exploring how a supportive work environment can make a difference. Globally, 970 million people suffer from mental disorders. Anxiety and depression are the most common conditions that people suffer for, affecting 1 in 8 people. In Ghana, mental health issues cost the economy exorbitantly, and the workplace plays a significant role in our mental health. We spend a lot of time at the workplace. So a supportive work environment can reduce your stress, it can increase productivity and promote your overall well-being. Unfortunately, many employees struggle with mental health issues, fearing stigma and discrimination. In Ghana, the Mental Health Authority reports that 1 in 5 Ghanaians experience mental health issues, and the cost of mental health care is a significant burden for the Ghanaian, with an average cost of 500 Ghana cedis per session. However, investments in mental health initiatives can yield a 4-to-1 return. It is necessary that we take a look at mental health. We'll be looking at some statistics, but before that, let's speak to the revered and renowned Professor Joseph Osafo, who is a psychologist and a suicidologist, and currently the Director for Aging Studies at the University of Ghana. Good morning, Prof. Thank you for joining us this morning on ABC in the Morning.
Good morning, madam. What's your name so I can address you?
My name is Abna Mante, Prof.
Okay, Abna Mante. All right. Good morning.
Prof, yesterday the world celebrated and marked World Mental Health Day. Today we are taking a look at mental health, especially in the workplace. What are some of the effective strategies that we can look at for managing the workplace stress and promoting mental well-being in employees?
Well, so I was just listening to your introduction. It's essentially very important for us to appreciate the losses we incur as a nation if we don't attend to mental illnesses or mental well-being of all of us. In fact, some estimate that this is about $5 billion that Ghana loses annually. And that globally, there is a loss of up to 2.5 trillion due to mental illnesses. And so this is an area that is extremely important. The other important point is that people live in their homes, but they go to work. They work in offices, they are working in organizations, they are working on assembling plants, they are working in teams, they are working under supervision. And they may have their own problems that, for example, affects them so much. And then you have potentially the stresses that they experience at work. For example, commuting to work alone in Ghana can be so stressful. Not many Ghanaian workers have access to a vehicle, and so they would have to commute using public transport. Some of which are, for example, hampered by thick traffic and all of those. Beyond that, like I said, you can have the organization itself or the working place and condition itself can have its problems. You have a boss who doesn't relate well. You have a team worker, co-worker who doesn't relate well. You have a lot of deadlines, to meet. The dynamics of teamwork itself, like I said, can create a lot of problems for you. What we have, and of course, all forms of abuse that you can experience from your superior or your boss. We have some data that indicate that a lot of young women working in some organization experience sexual, harassment. All of these are sources or risk for poor mental well-being at the workplaces. And of course, you can imagine if you have to balance your work, your family, you're a mother. Think about mothers who have children and they have to work, get to work on time, get up early morning, attend to their children, attend to their husband, attend to themselves, and then commute to work. So it's just like children spend a good number of hours in school, and the Ghanaian worker may spend 8 hours or more at the workplace. And so it is a significant place to begin to look at, because people can experience anxiety, they can experience depression, these common mental health disorders. And so this year, the Mental Health Authority is focusing on workplaces because we're seeing a lot of stresses and risk factors coming from these places. Somebody doesn't want to go and work again because of what and how he or she is being treated. And so over the years, I remember the Ghana Psychological Association keeps calling on government to begin to promote workers' mental health. They've done that over the years across various means and platforms. One of the ways of doing that is to ask government to formulate policies, nationally, and even policies that can affect corporations and organizations, so that they can rule this in their organizations to promote the mental well-being of their workers. Remember, if the worker is in good shape, then productivity can increase. If the worker is in poor or bad shape, then of course your guest should be as good as mine. And so one of the things that we are thinking that the government of Ghana can do is, for example, that and I was reading a statement of the Ghana Psychological Association indicating that it's called on government to implement what they call the annual mental health index. What they are seeking to do is that you can benchmark this mental health in work places. So for example, if every organization had a way of assessing periodically the mental well-being of a workers, you can get an index that can be a benchmark that can estimate what is happening in your organization. Of course, even the nation itself, we need one that can tell us how many people are happy, unhappy, unsatisfied, for example, depressed, anxious. We don't have very good data in this part of the world, but it's about time we roll out this. I can see the digital drive in the current government. We have to leverage on these digital platforms to begin to do this so that we can safeguard the mental well-being of the Ghanaian worker.
Prof, in leveraging on the digital technologies for the mental health, what role can technology play in improving access to mental health services, particularly in low resource settings that we have all across Ghana?
You know, and that's a very interesting and very important question. If you look at mobile penetration in Africa, Ghana is one of the topmost country where there is mobile penetration and arguably the internet penetration. What that means is that you already have had the basic platform on which you can build your digital infrastructure. If you can get a mobile phone in the hands, a normal mobile phone in the hands of somebody who is really not educated, you could, for example, send prompts. The algorithm can be designed so that prompts could be sent, either audio for those who may not be able to read, or, for example, audiovisual, so that those who can read can pick up. You could easily be asked to go through a survey, and this is very, very simple by developing, for example, applications that can do this. A lot of our young people who are working in these areas have access to mobile phones, they have access to the internet, and you could just quickly screen yourself and see whether you may need, you may need an intervention in terms of what we call counseling or psychotherapy or psychocentric intervention. If you have to go and see a psychiatrist, psychologist, or, for example, a counselor, then after responding to these responses on your handset, it will direct you to where you have to go, and then you go. It may, for example, in the interim, provide you support systems on what you have to do. For example, you have to maybe improve on your exercise level, because exercise releases a lot of neurotransmitters and hormones that can, for example, help you improve your well-being. And maybe you have to, for example, go and talk to somebody so that at least that feeling, that dopamine feeling can come. You feel like somebody cares for you instead of being alone. So it can give you tips on what to do. And we all have our handset and we watch all kinds of things on it. So I think that in terms of leveraging on technology, we can do a lot. In fact, recently, if you've been following the report, you will see that 13 states in the US have sued TikTok because they claim that the algorithm in TikTok is actually leading to a lot of addiction that is affecting children. And so they want TikTok banned in the US. We could equally be looking at some algorithms that will let people get hooked up to checking themselves and then, go into professionals for support. So the digital space is a big resource that we could leverage. And I know that the government has already begun this, and we have to leverage on it. Organizations should take advantage of this platform and do a lot of things to support, their workers. But some organizations, for instance, need to, let's say, set up what we call, employee assistance program, EAPs, right at the workplace. Because people often feel that they don't want to go to psychiatric hospital or go and see a psychologist or a counselor, and they say that, hey, you have a mental illness, because of the preponderance of the stigma in this part of the world towards mental health. So what would happen will be to just bring the services to the doorstep of the employee right at the organization. So you set up this employee assistance program and provide confidential, mental health support services. If there is a need to refer, you will just refer confidentially to where the person should go. And of course, a yearly mental health screening that, like in your organization, you can do for your workers. I mean, they can, for example, they may not have to come and sit in front of you for them to be taken through particular kind of interviews, but you could leverage your resources and send the thing right to them through their handset, and then they can fill it, and you can get the scores and get to know who and who may need further assistance and potentially referral.
Prof, before you go, one of the things that makes that is very rampant in Ghana is the fact that employees do not feel confident talking to their employers about some of their struggles, because you do not want to put yourself in a certain light that makes your employer start to doubt your capabilities and your capacity at work. Are there any evidence-based interventions that have been utilized in other places that would give employees the confidence to be able to bear the issues they are facing, so that they too will be okay working under a conducive environment?
Maybe we should not even take it from the employees at all. Maybe we should start from the managers, because that's what we find in other best practices in other countries, where instead of training employees, you rather target the managers. Because you see, there are power dynamics there. If the managers understand the importance of safeguarding the mental well-being of their workers, so that this can, for example, translate into increased productivity, then you have actually dealt with the issue. If you have read about the report about Tata, the recent boss who passed, one of the things, the legacy that Tata left, Tata has acquired Jaguar, has acquired Land Rover. Tata is a maybe if not trillion, a billion or maybe trillion company, global, has over 30 subsidiaries, And one of the things that the Tata leader who just passed at the age 82 or so in India was noted for as a legacy was that he took deep interest in the well-being of his workers, to the extent that even when you retire, he could just come and visit you. Although he was very old, he would make a surprise visit and go and check about you. Now that is somebody who really understands what it means to be working with human beings. Reports indicate that at the point when his workers had to burn twice on an assembling plant, equal about 600 bending for a day, he completely said no. He didn't have to let his workers break their back, and so got in, for example, robots to do that job. So he took very, very serious interest in his workers. And I think that is the first thing we should do. All managers, leaders, supervisors in organizations should be trained to appreciate what mental illness is, and the reason for which they should be very willing and embracing to allow their workers to talk to them. Once that is done, you see, when you are dealing with stigma reduction, one of the things you can do is to tackle it from the top. Those who hold authority, those who have the power to crack the whip, who may be very deep in certain unscientific and certain ideologies and thoughts which are anti mental health. In other words, they don't support it. You have to focus on them and get them to be educated. That's the first thing we have to do. Once that is done, the next is to encourage the worker now to seek help. The other one, like I mentioned, is to let organizations set up their own mental health services right at the doorstep of the worker, so he doesn't have to go through alleys of bureaucratic for example measures and processes to be able to access mental health services. For example, somebody has a problem at where he works, and he must write to his supervisor. It must get to the next line of supervisor. It must get to the HR. Then the HR must get it to the boss, and the boss must see the plan of the board before. This is like somebody who said nonsense. By the time he comes back, the person is saying, what have happened? So one of the things is to cut down on this bureaucratic processes, so that the worker can readily access the service. Like I said, if you bring the service right to their doorstep, all of this, dense bureaucratic processes could be, for example, averted, and then the person can really access mental health services.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you too.
Professor Joseph Osafo is a psychologist and suicidologist. He is the director for aging studies at the University of Ghana. He's given us a very comprehensive conversation on this, on mental health at the workplace. He says that tackle the stigma from the top. In addressing mental health at the workplace, it should start from the top. And he's given us the example of the Tata head and how he addressed issues with his employees. We should tackle it from the top, and it will help and cut down on bureaucratic processes, because before you would have gone through all of these bureaucratic processes, you do not know where the person would have reached at the moment. Let's take some information on mental health statistics and what mental health means. This is according to the World Health Organization. World Health Organization says that 970 million people globally were living with a mental health disorder in 2019, with anxiety and depression being the most common. 970 million people. And mental health conditions can cause difficulties in all aspects of life, including relationships, family, friends, and community. Globally, mental disorders account for 1 in 6 years lived with disability, and people with severe mental health conditions die 10 to 20 years earlier than the general population. And also, mental health conditions increase the risk of suicide and experiencing human rights violations. Unfortunately for most of us, because mental health issues are not like for when maybe your hand hurts and you can go to the hospital, or your head aches and you can go to the hospital, we do not see your issue on your face, so we most often than not downplay it. And it is for this reason that we raise awareness on mental health and the need to place emphasis on it. According to a press statement released by the Mental Health Authority, and we are looking at statistics from Ghana, Ghana has recorded 81 completed suicides and 543 attempted cases in the first half of 2024, as against 48 completed suicide cases and 594 attempted cases in 2023. The authority describes that majority of these cases are young people between the ages of 15 and 29 years, and with the most completed cases occurring in the Greater Accra region. It is very necessary that we place a lot of emphasis on mental health in the country and in our workplaces. Bosses, supervisors, leaders at workplaces must make sure that you are creating an enabling environment for your employees, for your subordinates, to be able to work with a clear heart and a clear mind. Because more often than not, people go to work and their heads are already clouded, their hearts are beating, the palpitations are just erratic, because they know what to expect at work. It's going to be a long day of screaming, of shouting, of intimidation, of stress, and then they go home already broken. Like Prof says, you spend so much time in traffic just coming to work, and then by the time you even get to work, you are obviously tired. You're already tired before the day begins. So when you come and join work and then it's already stressful, then it means that your day has been rendered a very stressed day. Let's speak with a peer counselor and a mental health advocate. He is Pakwesi Abel, and he joins us on Zoom. Good morning, Pakwesi. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Can I have your name again?
My name is Abuna Mante.
Thank you very much, Abuna.
Pakwesi, you work with Zumojo Foundation as a mental health advocate. What does your organization advocate for when it comes to mental health and health support and accommodations in the workplace?
Okay, so Zumojo Foundation has a cohort of young peer counselors who help the young people in universities, senior high schools, and junior high school through mental health issues. or mental health crisis. But for my mental health advocacy has been through my NGO, the Able Cares Initiative. We go to high schools, we go to the streets, we go to the market, we speak to people. And just last 2 weeks, we had the Ghana Mental Health, the Ghana Psychology Week, where we had a lot of psychologists join us, go to Tema Committee 1 Market to speak to the women. Yesterday, we had the Wholesome Mind Summit at the Labadi Beach, where the president's wife was present. It was quite, educative, learning about all these things and getting to know that there is more work to be done in the field of mental health, and especially when it comes to the young people and the youth.
As you work with young people, what are some of the challenges that you have been met with to see that these are recurring challenges with ABC people? You take 10 people, you take 20 people, and you see that this thing runs through their conversations with you, their interactions with you.
Depression. That is one of the most commonest mental health issue young people face in our country and across. Just recently, I did a research with my team at the University of Ghana, getting to know the knowledge of depression among university students. And quite impressively, we found out that most of the females know of depression to the extent that they even own being depression, even though probably they might not be depressed. But a lot of the men, the young men, do not know what depression is in the first place. And even if they know or they have it, they don't want to show it. Right? So for over the past few weeks, my team and I have been pushing for men's mental health, because a lot of these men go through a lot. These boys, young people, men actually go through a lot, and then they do not air out. They do not talk. They do not share. Even if you are sitting with them one-on-one, they want you to know that shall we be boys. So what is all this? Like, I have to be man, I have to be strong. I don't have to show a point of weakness. I can't cry in front of you because I'm a man, and that is how they've been brought up. So counseling young men somehow proves to be a little bit tough, because they don't want to show everything. They don't want to put all their cards on the table. So you have to go through more, you have to go in deeper in the conversations. But with the females, it's much more easier to get to them and for them to reach out. So that is one of my observations so far.
When we talk about promoting mental health at the workplace, Pakwesi, what can leaders at workplaces, employers, what can they do to reduce the stigma around mental health discussions?
The issue about workplace, aside it being for the corporate structures, also let's also put some emphasis on the people who are not in the corporate structures as well. Let's look at the women who go to the stores, who go to the market and all of that. But before I go to that, about the corporate spaces, yesterday at the Wholesome Mind Summit, we were talking about these issues. And one of the topics or one of the solutions that came up with employees is that we should try as much as possible to enforce regular vacations to some of our workers. Some of our workers probably might think that giving them the chance for them to have a vacation is you trying to get rid of them, or trying to launch an investigation behind them and all of that. But then we should have company policies that allows our young people or our workers to go out and have a week off. It should be mandatory to some extent, because the stress levels goes out. And then when we are talking about vacations, people are saying expensive. I'm not talking about you travel out to the Maldives or the Caribbean. There's so many amazing places here in Ghana that you could visit, that you could tour around just to relax yourself and take yourself off. You would realize that when you go back to work the following week after your vacation, you feel new and you feel energized to do more work than you were doing on the regular basis, right? So I believe that employees could employ one of those things, as in making it mandatory for most of their workers go on vacations at a particular period, aside general holidays and all of that. Secondly, we have organizational psychologists who should be frequent at your workplace to give workshops to your workers. Like, we have the exception, like the president for the Ghana Psychological Association, Dr. ABC, who has led a whole lot of cohorts of young people and psychologists into that particular field. So if we have more organizational psychologists come into your workplace to do workshops with them, to talk to them, to do mental health screening and all of that. I think that would be great. And for the HR hiring process, and as part of their jobs, you could add it to it. We could have, as part of your human resource team, a psychologist who would be there to maintain and to work. Some companies already have this, but the companies who do not, please make sure you have one. Like, hire a psychologist in there as part of your HR team to be evaluating them from time to time. The psychologist could just be calling your members at random to come into his or her office and then, have some conversations with them to know the state of their mental health also. Some people might think this is not needed, right? But the point is, as an employer, this is needed for you because the human resource at your workplace is going to have an effect on your income, the work, the amount of work that can be done within a particular time. If my mental health is not in the right place, I might be sitting behind my computer, but I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as your employer. I would be there spending my 3 hours thinking about stuff. But then if I have a if I have a positive mental health and I'm good, within that 8 hours I'm supposed to work at the office, I could do works I could have probably done within 3 days when my mental health is, otherwise. So employers should do their best to ensure that these things are done in their workplaces, right? And then also to address my issue on the women who wake up every day at dawn to go to the markets, go to Continental Circle. These women go through a lot, sincerely. During my interactions with them over the past few weeks at the Temakum 1 market, I realized that one of the key issues is stress management. These are mothers of children of 3, 4, 5, 2, some are even 9. And they will have to wake up very early in the morning by 4, 5 to get their kids ready for school, get their husband ready for work, leave, come to the market, the stress of sitting for a very long time, and I have to leave and come back home early to cook for them. And then also make sure they prepare their kids and then go to bed very late. And then they wake up in the morning with body pains here and there. That was one of the most things they were telling us almost all the time. And the funny thing is, these women go to market from Mondays to Sunday. Some of them don't take a break. And that is so bad. So we're even advising them to take some breaks, even if it's a day off. Because in this economy, if you advise someone to shut their shop down for 1 week, they'll tell you, will you come and give me money to eat, right? So even if it's a day, even if it's a couple of hours you take off to rest, please do. Because these market women do not have the luxury of being in corporate companies where their companies could hire and afford psychologists to come and take care of them or to come and counsel them. So because of that, we as advocates of mental health, sometimes we have to take these walks and then educate our mothers in the market about mental health and then link them or recommend them to mental health services, which are obviously free, some by the Ghana Psychological Association, some by the Zumoju Foundation, some by the Able Cares Initiative, the Ghana Mental Health Authority, and all of those things, so that they could go and seek for help.
Thank you for speaking with us, Pakwesi.
Thank you very much, Opena. It was a pleasure.
Pakwesi Abel is a peer counselor with Zumoju Foundation at the Kolebu and a mental health advocate. Let's listen to Ghanaians on what they think about mental health and what mental health means to them. In the past, in a couple of years, we realized that a lot of people are now waking up to mental health and what it means to have a sound mental health. Let's listen to Ghanaians about what they do when they are faced with certain challenges.
Stress. I just take my time. I use my little time at home. Maybe I will just go with my my training. Then after the training, I take my bath. I make sure that everything is in order. I don't stress myself a bit because I do calculation with my time. Yeah, because I have lesser time. I have the time that I used to do other stuff. You understand? So if I'm stressed, I relax. I take more time to relax the body. I don't stress myself a bit. You understand? That's how I do with it. Because as for stress, the only solution to that is you have to take more time to rest. That's all.
I say if I'm tired and I need to relax, like I sometimes watch TV, my Facebook, and then do things that will make me happy. And then that's how my work hours, like I work from 8 to 6 in the evening. So from 6 till morning, like I can watch TV on my phone and other things. That's how I feel. When I get tired from work, from that long period, so when I get home, the free time I have is from 6 till morning. My work starts from 8 in the morning. So now, from that 6 in the evening till this morning, I have a whole lot to rest and to watch other things.
Okay, most of the times when I come back from work, after praying, I'm a Muslim. After praying and eating, maybe I watch maybe anime. Then through it, then I sleep. Sometimes too, I listen to music. Most of the time, that's what I do. Like I love doing it. So maybe sometimes through watching the anime, then I sleep.
My family is stressing. Stressing like one she money sunny only me about you. Yeah, stressing. 10 years. If you're no piano, I get my feel fine. My I feel no piano fine. Mine is
Due to our cell phones and things, whenever there's stress, you just take your phone, go to the social media, and just go to some videos that will entertain you and just avoid the stress. That's all. Oh, as for me, I like to listen to music a lot, so I just turn on to play music, just listen to their music. That's all, and I just sleep.
I'm not rest. I'm repairing amplifier and those things. So everything go back.
So when you are tired or you are tired from your work, how do you relax or take off stress?
No relax. Your electricity too crap. Every month where the bill where it come there, you no go fit pay. No go fit pay.
You work back to back.
Yes. So if somebody call you outside and you go. But when you do the shop, nothing. So light off right now. Again, they cut my light. They give me message, 50 million. Another message come, 50 million. The third message, 40 million.
Whenever I'm stressed, I just have to stop whatever I'm doing and then take some rest. Because sometimes when you are stressed out, you lose concentration. There will be poor concentration. Also, you lose energy, and then also you become very tired. And when you are tired, there's nothing you can do. So whenever I'm stressed out, I have to pause whatever activity I'm doing and then take some deep rest. And also, if I cannot continue my activity after the rest, I just have to do some exercise. After that, I can continue with.
Well, you have it. Ghanaians have shared what they do when they are stressed. Some have found ways to cope with the stress that they feel, and others have not found ways to cope with it. We're hoping that in raising awareness of mental health issues and the need for mental health, we will take the necessary measures as persons and as groups and as organizations to make sure that our mental health is prioritized. Like I said earlier, try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. We're going through so much. You don't know what anybody is going through because it doesn't show on their face, but in their heads it could be so cloudy. So if you can be anything for anybody, do well and try to be a rainbow to brighten somebody's day, because that smile, that good word, that calm word that you have for someone is what would clear all of the cobwebs in their head, and by doing that, you too would have impacted somebody's life. That's all for Front Story this morning on ABC in the Morning. We'll be back. Stay with us. Today is Friday, so I know that before you get into your weekend, you want to know what is trending so that it will inform your weekend. Also, yesterday Ghana played a match. People are not excited. Ghanaians are not excited. I'm not the best person to tell you about how the fans, the Ghanaians, are expressing their disappointment on what happened yesterday. Godwin is on standby to bring us trends and to give us the latest in sports. Let's get straight into trends and sports.
Welcome to ABC in the morning. This is the trends and sports segment that I'm bringing to you, and I am Godwin Opoku-Ochre. So first of all, let's look at what is trending. Then after that, we go into the world of sports, what we need to know in the world of sports. So today, what is trending? We have Professor Jampo trending. Yesterday he was trending, and today too he is still in the trends. Also we have Max TV, Accra Sports Stadium, and the Black Stars all trending, and those trends are tied in one because they are all related to the match that the Black Stars played at the Accra Sports Stadium yesterday. So why is Professor Jampo trending? he was on Joy Prime that he made a comment surrounding the UTAG indefinite strike that they have declared. And he said Frontline Media and Security Services posted this one saying what Professor Jampo said. He says organized labor didn't decide on anything suspension of strike. It is the decision of Joshua Ansah and Bampo. Prof. Jampo narrates fully what went on during the organized labor meeting 2 days ago. So that is why Professor Jampo is trending. And there has been a lot of comments under that session because the UTAG strike is taking a toll on students who are probably not coming back to classrooms because of this strike. And also, why is Black Stars, Max TV and Accra Sports Stadium trending? Yesterday, the Black Stars of Ghana played a match against Sudan and they played a goalless draw. So the Black Stars official Twitter handle posted full time it ends goalless in Accra. That is Black Stars 0, Sudan 0. And in the comment section, Sweet ATL Madrid fan said, unlucky, but the players did well. Inaki had better impact than Jordan. We play better without Partey. I saw something positive today. Their goalkeeper was phenomenal today. Also, Max TV posted that Otuado is pleased the Black Stars will be played at the Accra Sports Stadium. And in quote, he said, I'm happy that we are here, that we are home, and hopefully we get support from the spectators. So previously, Black Stars played against Angola at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, and due to the pitch condition, the Black Stars lost a 0-0 to Angola. And fans took to Twitter to say a lot of things that followed by CAF's ban of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. And because of that, National Sports Authority put some works into developing the Accra Sports Stadium that yesterday the match took place on. And this one, the fans are saying it is not the pitch condition that made the Black Stars play goalless draw. It is rather technical inabilities. And we also, that is why the Black Stars played the goalless draw. And that is all we have for trends for today, because all the Black Stars, Accra Sports Stadium, and also Accra Sports Stadium and Max TV are all tied in the AFCON qualifier that we played. So now let's move straight into the world of sports. What is happening in the world of sports? Just like I mentioned earlier, yesterday the Black Stars played against Sudan, and Coach Otuado has expressed his pain and disappointment because the team was not able to win any point from there, score any goal from there. Let's listen to what the coach said.
The only thing which was missing was the goals, and surely we have to work on this. We have some 2 days to analyze it, how we can score better. The chances were there, a lot of chances, but this is football. This is football, sometimes very, very hard, difficult for us. So now it pains even more. The Niger game pains even more. And also the last minute goal against Angola pains even more, because today, again, we did well, and there's nothing much I can say. And just the result, and this is the most important thing in football, is not correct. And I think we deserve to win, but we didn't. And we will stay positive, and we will beat them away with the same performance, the same passion, the same creativity up front. We will beat them away. Surely we will try to train finishing and give them confidence. That's all. This was the only thing which was missing. The spirit was good, the passion was there, the defensive.
That is Coach Otuado expressing his disappointment towards the match that Black Stars played goalless draw. Meanwhile, the assistant coach for Sudan, Ignatius Osei-Fosu, said it was hard luck on the side of Black Stars, but the end product was not good for Sudan.
Game that was really, really difficult. Ghana played so very well. I think it was hard luck for on Ghana's side, because there were some footballs. Our goalkeeper Mustafa saved that I never thought would be saved. So for me, it's hard luck on Ghana's part. They played very, very well. But again, for us, we're defensively solid. We knew it was going to be hard because they have the fans against them, with them, and so they were going to come hard at us. So we're only waiting for some counter breaks, which I think we had 2 or 4 of them. But again, the end product was not that good for us.
And that is Ignatius Fusu saying it was a hard luck on the side of Black Stars. And Black Stars, Sudan will host Black Stars in Libya on the 15th of October. So we look forward to Black Stars going to make a statement there for the qualification to the AFCON 2025 in Morocco. And that is all in the world of sports and trends for today. I am Godwin Opoku Ochre.
That's some sports updates and trends from Gordon Opoku Ochre. Let's do some tech trick right here on NABC in the morning. My name is Sandy Opondich. Let's do 5 steps to manage screen time for a better mental health. As yesterday, we marked the celebration and event globally. Now, globally, 4.9 million people, which makes 63% of the world's population, use mobile devices, with the average person spending 3 hours and 48 minutes on their phone daily. This information is from the 2022 Global Digital Overview. And in Ghana, 75% of the population owns a mobile phone, with 45% using smartphones, and a research from the Ghana Statistical Service. Excessive phone usage leads to alarming consequences. 67% of users experience sleep disturbances and 54% report increased stress. Furthermore, phone addiction affects mental health, with 40% of users experiencing anxiety and 30% experiencing depression. The constant stream of notifications and social media updates activate the brain's reward system, system, releasing free good chemicals like dopamine, making it difficult to disconnect. And this is a Harvard Business Review in 2018. In today's digital age, screens are an integral part of our daily lives. From smartphones to tablets, laptops and TVs, we are constantly surrounded by screens. While technology has many benefits, excessive screen time can negatively impact our mental health. Prolonged screen exposure can lead to increased stress and anxiety, depression, and sleep disturbances. The blue light emitted from screens can suppress melatonin distributing our sleep patterns. Moreover, excessive screen time can lead to social isolation, decreased attention span, and reduced physical activity. Managing time is crucial for maintaining good mental health. By setting boundaries and being mindful of our screen use, we can use and reduce the risk associated with excessive screen time. Here are 5 simple steps to help you manage your screen time for a better mental health. The first one is you have to set screen time goals. Setting screen time goals is as crucial as making sure to keep your mental health right on the peak as you have and to have a fruitful life. And here on Tech Trick, we are helping you to be able to manage and use technology well. So set realistic goals, reducing screen time, identifying your most relevant devices, and you need to establish digital well-being, like using Android to track your usage. The second one we are giving you is establish screen-free zone. So you can use technology and helping you to manage your mental health. So the second one is establish screen-free zone. And designate screen-free zone in your home, such as the bedroom or dining table. This helps create spaces for relaxation, socialization, and focus. The third one is that you have to schedule screen time. Allocate specific time for screen usage, such as during breaks or after completing tasks. Use apps like Freedom and self-control to blocking distracting websites during focus and periods. The fourth one is replace screen time with physical activity. Engage in physical activities like reading, like walking, taking some exercise, and to fill time previously spent on screen time. So it's not always that you need to be glued to your phone and be able to be on the screen. That time you have to also exercise some screen time relaxation, and you could spend time away from your screen by taking some nap, by reading, or by walking or taking some walk around your house, and you are good to go. So aim for at least 30 minutes of daily physical activity. The last one we are doing is practice screen hygiene daily, and it's practice screen hygiene and develop healthy screen habits. You need to avoid screen hours before bedtime. Use blue light filtering glasses or apps. So most of the times when you are done with your day's activity and you are trying to retire to bed and you want to do a little bit of typing or be on social media or even do a work either on your laptop or your phone, you can use blue screen glasses as you are seeing on our screen right now. You have to also take regular breaks. So every 60 to 90 minutes, you have to take a break from your phone and from your laptop and prioritize face-to-face interaction. So it is not always that you're glued to your phone interacting with people online or having an online conversation, but most of the time, your advice on Tech Trick that you have to encourage or prioritize face-to-face interaction. So limit social media usage. Social media is always there and it's going to be there for the next 100 years to come. So it's not going anywhere. So you have to limit your social media usage. By implementing these simple steps, you will be well on your way. You'll be well on your way to do your best and manage your screen time for whatever that you need to go. So this is Tech Trick, and right here on ABC in the Morning, we brought you some 5 steps in managing your screen time in promoting a better mental health. My name is Sandy Opondich. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back with more.
One night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered by GIPC. It's time to honor Ghanaian companies that have stood the test of time, made an impact, and are blazing the trail in their respective industries. Join us for the 21st edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Palms at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Purchase your tickets now via the USSD short code *365*2100#. Alternatively, you can call 0243-534-559 or 0247-600-860 to RSVP. This event is under the auspices of the Office of the President, Ranking Partner, KPMG, Ticket Partner, Koba, Diamond Sponsors, Platinum Sponsors, Gold Sponsors, Supporting Sponsors, Beverage Sponsors, Media Partner, ABC News TV, Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
Amantina Processing Company Limited, we're producing 300 tons of industrial starch daily from 1,200 tons of fresh cassava.
Me hu se nyado ani ama tractor etimi aba yekurom ho amantin mansim bi se tractor si we se behu ho no nyado ano enti bra na ba ko efre me se ye pese do banchiafuo no me de mensan nyina so mu enya gidie mbehu ha se adwuma na yekoso no enti me de masase nyina be 18 acres edidua banchi e wonu medikan ba mu ne de aboa wonu pa sentina me hu sa akokoa ene amante adwuma na aboa wonu enti na me so me force say fasa wachi ene afefre so ono so me force say force obetimi ayeden aboa ye
na banchi adwuma no ba he banifo baba mtie na minisem wayem nti me de me ho kodron banchi kuo no dese banchi de die metim na minise nyame din munti beyi
na do one district petre no odi aba no oso ye nsa ye pa obi amfa ne nsa nsom ye
o mampanyini one district pa aboa me pa.
One night, 100 leading companies, 100 coveted business awards. This is the Ghana Club 100, powered by GIPC. It's time to honor Ghanaian companies that have stood the test of time, made an impact, and are blazing the trail in their respective industries. Join us for the 21st edition of the Ghana Club 100 Awards on Friday, October 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Palms at La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Purchase your tickets now via the USSD short code *365*2100#. Alternatively, you can call 0243-534-559 or 0247-600-860 to RSVP. This event is under the auspices of the Office of the President, Ranking Partner, KPMG, Ticket Partner, Koba, Diamond Sponsors, Platinum Sponsors, Gold Sponsors, Supporting Sponsors, Beverage Sponsors, Media Partner, ABC News TV, Ghana Club 100, celebrating Ghana's business leaders.
watching ABC in the morning live on ABC News GH. We'll be getting straight into business fix, but before that, I want to remind you that today is the International Day for the Girl Child. International Day for the Girl Child. So today more than ever, you should pay particular attention to the girl child. And the theme is Girls' Vision for the Future. Girls' Vision for the future. Do well to amplify a girl's vision for her future, what she dreams for, what she hopes to attain, what she hopes to be. Do well to be part of that and amplify her voice and her dreams. Let's get straight into business fix. On Business Fix, we are speaking and looking at 5G service. 5G, you've heard it all about that. There's going to be an introduction of 5G connectivity in Ghana, and it's been said that it will be rolled out on 1st November. 1st November. Are we ready for 5G? Are you excited for 5G? Where we will know 5 months after Ghana announced its plans, the country is set to launch 5G service on November 1, 2024. 1st November 2024, we will be launching 5G service. The Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, appeared on one of our sister stations, and she disclosed that everything is in place for the rollout of the service. Let's listen to her when she said that.
Headed first on Kokroko.
What need you to try? 5G, Baba.
5G, 1st November. Okay. You headed first on Kokroko.
What need you to try? 5G, Baba.
5G, 1st November. Okay.
Was there the Minister for Communication, Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, and she says that 5G 1st November. The service has been described as the 5th technology of wireless technology, which offers higher internet speed, higher upload and download speed with more consistent connections and improved capacity. I know most of us are excited about being able to upload and download quickly. It is a significant step for Ghana, and it aims to be fully digital by 2030, providing fast and affordable mobile broadband to everyone, irrespective of one's location. Available information on this 5G service suggests that this rollout is made possible through a collaboration between the government and tech giants like Ascend Digital, KNet, Nokia, Radisys, and Tech Mahindra, all working together to build a solid digital infrastructure in the country. In the lead up to this rollout, there were concerns, and there have been concerns by the minority regarding the legality of the 5G deal awarded to NextGen Infraco. They have argued that the finalization of the contract without the approval or knowledge of Parliament is in violation of the law. However, Honorable Ursula Owusu-Ekuful has defended the decision and has stated that NextGen Infraco was specifically created to handle the 5G. Well, we'll be looking at that and more into it. But joining us for the conversation on this 5G rollout that we're expecting on November 1 is Kwesi Etuahene, the Executive Director for African Center for Digital Transformation. Good morning, Kwesi. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm excited to join ABC News. You guys are doing very good and wonderful.
Thank you, Kwesi. Kwesi, do you believe that the introduction of 5G will transform the everyday life of the Ghanaian, particularly for businesses?
Well, thank you very much for the question. The concept of the 5G was designed for that purpose. And there are a few other countries that currently run 5G. For instance, countries that have smart cities, such that the buildings have been developed in a way that it depends predominantly even on internet, the functioning of the buildings. And in terms of the everyday usage of their buildings, the elevators and all the things that comes around. So countries like China, United States, is working very well for them. But for a country like Ghana, it appears as though we are getting our priorities not so right. Why am I saying this? As we speak now, in these modern times, October 2024, we are still having electricity problems. Okay, the 4G and the 3G, they are parts of the country that have not even exhausted it up to this point. So even though 5G promises fast internet, access for more devices to be connected, there are underpinning digital infrastructure that needs to be set in place before a government can enroll such a contract with NextG Infraco. Now, I don't want to go so much into detail with the procurement issues that if a government wants to sign any of such contracts, it must go to Parliament for Parliament to approve so that there can be some agreement between the three arms of government before the contract proceeds. I don't want to go there. I want to stick to the technicalities of the issue and the available digital infrastructure we have. The background story to this is that for over almost 10 years now, MTN has been on the neck of government to put in place the necessary infrastructure to roll out this 5G. The concept of the Ministry of Communication and Digitalization has been that MTN cannot be the monopoly of internet in the country, and therefore Ghanaians must be able to own a greater portion of these concepts. I solely do agree. But if Ghanaians are being allowed to hold the fort of 5G and therefore NextG Infraco, then the necessary infrastructure needs to be put in place. Imagine what would happen if we have not been able to solve basic issues of electricity and you roll out a 5G, money would be dispersed, contracts would be awarded, which had been awarded already, I must say, and yet the motives and the objectives of awarding a contract will not fully materialize. As we speak now, if you travel to some portion of Walewale, Narugu, and some portion of Pusuga, you will not get internet. In fact, Pusuga, most people there depend on Orange, which is quite popular in the Burkina Faso area. There are portions in Bonahafu that they can't even explore the 3G we have and the 4G we have. So, yes, it's a good idea. It may help, but the focus should be on getting the digital infrastructure right. And paramount among them is electricity.
So, Kwesi, if we are going to focus on that, and if it's going to take us how long to reach that digital infrastructure, doesn't mean that we need to wait until we get there before we also start rolling 5G. Won't the world have passed us by then?
As much as I would want to be optimist, I'm sorry I may be a bearer of bad news. The politics of our nation does not permit things to be done in a sequential manner. It appears to me that the focus of government is on putting in place things that they can't make money from. So every now and then, every innovation that can be financially lucrative, that can make sense to some political actors are what they pursue. Otherwise, why should we still be talking about 5G when we've not solved the electricity problem? Why should we still be talking about 5G when we have not been able to ensure that every part of the country has access to electricity? There are still places in many of the 15 regions that do not have electricity. So we have not fully utilized 3G. In fact, we have not even used 1/3 of the availability of 4G. Why then are we making a big fuss out of 5G? We don't need it now. It's good, yes, it's important, but we don't need it as of now. We don't run smart cities here. How many trains do we even have in this country? The last time we heard that they had promised to bring Sky trains, we are 3 months into the election, and we don't know whether it's yet to be fulfilled. So there are many other things that 4G, if utilized properly, can serve the country well. But it appears to me that the focus is on money-making machine for some political actors. It may take some time if you want to fully utilize 5G. It may take some time. It means that we need to make sure that we have built our country to the point where we don't have electricity issues. We've developed the needed infrastructure in terms of fiber optics that connects the different portions of the country to make sure internet access. Paramount among them is to make sure the cost of internet is not as expensive as it is now. All right. Internet now is very expensive in Ghana compared to our neighboring countries, compared to Togo, compared to Burkina Faso, compared to Nigeria. I don't know how the usage of internet, but the faster it is for you, the more expensive it's going to be. So if you are complaining about it being expensive with 5G, imagine that we fully run 5G and other telcos like MTN, Airtel, Tigo, Vodafone now switch to depend on NextGen Infraco to supply them. It's going to be very expensive because per the contract that was awarded, all these telcos would have to depend on NextGen Infraco as the sole supplier of these 5G networks. So I must say that the future of the cost of internet is going to be one that Ghanaians will complain to the roof. It's going to be very disappointing. It's going to be extremely expensive because the needed structures have not been put in place. Thank you.
So, Kwesi, left to you, we should abandon the pursuit of 5G connectivity in Ghana at the moment.
Sincerely, as a center, we have looked at it somewhere in the middle of, in August, we issued a press statement on it, warning government that you cannot go ahead to award the contract if you have not solved electricity problem. We had a press statement, we had a press conference, engaged media people on it. We also ensure that we are written to the needed public institutions. But we have a government that abuse the power that have been given to them, I must say. So the contract around the 5G network and the NextGen Infraco was directly from the presidency to the Minister of Education and Digitalization to execute. So Parliament is even complaining how much more we as a Africa Center for Digital Transformation. But strongly, we do believe that the idea of 5G in this country, as of now, is...
Okay, Kwesi. Well, we'll come back to you for this conversation the more. We are looking at November 1, when it is rolled out. You have said that we need to put some things in place before this can be rolled out in Ghana. But beyond that, we'll be having more conversations with you. Let's see how far this 5G service in Ghana goes. Thank you for speaking with us this morning, Kwesi.
Thank you very much for having me. We are grateful.
Kwesi Etiahene is the Executive Director for the Africa Center for Digital Transformation. Ghana is set to roll out 5G service on November 1. The Minister for Communication, Esle Wusu Okufu, has said that November 1, Ghana is set to roll out 5G service. There have been many questions raised about it, especially from the minority. Speaking with Kwesi too, Kwesi has also raised certain questions, but we'll look forward to seeing how far this goes and if all of these concerns will be allayed, if the fears will be allayed. That is all for Business Fix this morning on ABC in the morning. Let's take a breather. We will be back.
enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing healthcare for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Vote for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business. Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing healthcare for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Vote for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business. Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support.
In 2017, the NPP inherited a fragmented digital infrastructure that limited public service efficiency. Since then, we've revolutionized how services are delivered with the Ghana card and mobile money interoperability, enhancing speed and accessibility. Our efforts have greatly improved government interactions, making life easier for every Ghanaian. However, our vision doesn't stop here. We aim to further expand and modernize Ghana's digital landscape. The journey towards a fully integrated digital society continues. Stand with us. Vote for innovation. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business. In 2017, the NPP inherited a fragmented digital infrastructure that limited public service efficiency. Since then, we've revolutionized how services are delivered with the Ghana card and mobile money interoperability, enhancing speed and accessibility. Our efforts have greatly improved government interactions, making life easier for every Ghanaian. However, our vision doesn't stop here. We aim to further expand and modernize Ghana's digital landscape. The journey towards a fully integrated digital society continues. Stand with us. Vote for innovation. Vote for Bawumia.
In 2017, the NPP inherited an infrastructure network in need of renewal. We've since focused on building modern, resilient infrastructure, expanding roads, railways and housing through strong partnerships with the private sector. As we enter the next chapter, a revitalized public works department will lead maintenance, with local governments enhancing district roads. We are committed to expanding railways and upgrading airports to connect Ghana for a stronger future. While much has been achieved, there's still more to do. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business. In 2017, the NPP inherited an infrastructure network in need of renewal. We've since focused on building modern, resilient infrastructure, expanding roads, railways and housing through strong partnerships with the private sector. As we enter the next chapter, a revitalized public works department will lead maintenance, with local governments enhancing district roads. We are committed to expanding railways and upgrading airports to connect Ghana for a stronger future. While much has been achieved, there's still more to do. Vote for Bawumia. Bawumia means business.
You're watching ABC in the morning. Thank you for staying with us. We're heading zooming straight into our main discussion. Government has deployed some military and has set up 4 courts, specialized courts, to fight Galamsey. Government has armed its fight against Galamsey by deploying a number of military personnel and setting up 4 courts to fight Galamsey. Is it enough for us? Are we happy with it? Are Ghanaians okay with it? Is it a step in the right direction? Well, we will see, and we'll be discussing it. So government has deployed over 100 armed military personnel to various water bodies in a renewed effort to clamp down on illegal mining activities in the country. This action follows growing agitation from organized labor and several civil society organizations urging government to address the environmental devastation that has been caused by Galamsey. It was a worrying thing and still is a worrying thing, and has severely affected Ghana's water bodies, our farmlands and our forests. The president, in a statement 2 days ago, directed the Minister for Defense to deploy additional military forces to strengthen what they call Operation Halt, an ongoing initiative aimed at eradicating illegal mining activities. This deployment is part of government strategy to intensify the crackdown on Galamsey, which has become one of Ghana's most pressing environmental challenges. The military started the crackdown yesterday in the eastern region along the Brim River and other water bodies suffering significant contamination. Reports from yesterday's operations suggest that the military has already destroyed 18 chanfans, 10 industrial water pumping machines, and 1 excavator in various illegal mining sites across Ghana. These machines are known for causing extensive damage to the water bodies by dredging river beds and releasing toxic chemicals such as mercury, which pollutes water and aquatic life. So the president has deployed the military, has set up 4 specialized courts to fight Galamsey. These specialized courts are to pay. The specialized courts, will be dealing exclusively with illegal mining cases. These courts are just for illegal mining cases, and the president has tasked the Attorney General to work with the Chief Justice to increase the number of courts handling these cases. Yesterday, we spoke with the Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Dr. Nyakuotu, and our questions were about organized labor, because it was our understanding that yesterday organized labor was going to go on strike because of Galamsey. In a very sharp U-turn, organized labor said that they had suspended the strike. They were set to go on. In a sharp U-turn, they said they had suspended the strike. They were set to go on. So we asked Dr. Nyakuotu why this sudden change of mind. Why had they changed their mind on going on strike? Because this Galamsey issue is something that is very worrying, and all of Ghana has thrown their weight behind organized labor in taking such a stance. Dr. Nyakuotu said that they had reached a certain agreement with government, and that they had seen the government was taking some bold steps in addressing the issue. So in giving government some time, they had seen what government was doing, and they were going to pay critical attention to seeing how far it would go. Let's listen to Dr. Nyakuotu when he spoke with us yesterday.
Look at our demand. We were calling for a state of emergency. We were calling for an airline to be repealed. We were calling for redeployment of the soldiers to guard the river bodies and forest reserves. We were calling for a court to be established to deal with illegal mining cases. Now, apart from the state of emergency, today, the president has committed, in fact, he has directed the minister responsible for environment, science and technology, together with the Environmental Protection Agency, to suspend the operations of the airline. And he has also directed the minister to submit a memo to Parliament when it reconvenes next week to finally revoke that airline. So the point actually is that yes, we did not get a state of emergency, but it's also been explained sufficiently to us. 2 months to an election, where you declare certain parts of the country a no-go zone for others, it can have serious implications for the elections that we are going to have. And we should take all of that into consideration.
Deputy General Secretary for the Trades Union Congress. However, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, says that although organized labor has called off the strike, has suspended the strike, they, UTAG, are still going on strike until government has solved this issue of Galamsey. We have joining us on phone Dr. Palgrave Boakye Danquah. He is government spokesperson on governance and security. Good morning, Dr. Boakye Danquah. Thank you for joining us on ABC in the morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
Government has deployed some military persons. What is government's aim with this military deployment, especially when other similar deployments have been done in the past?
Government's aim is very simple: to be able to clean the water bodies and raid people who are doing illegal mining along those water bodies and forest reserves. So those were the clear directives that were given to the Ghana Armed Forces on that deployment.
Similar deployments have been done in the past. Some will say that it didn't actually deliver what it should have delivered. What is the difference that we will see with this new deployment that government has done?
I don't know where you have been, but all those similar deployments that were made from 2017, 2018, 2019, and an aspect of 2020 yielded the results. I don't know where you have been. We seized excavators, de-excavated excavators, cleared the water bodies of people who were doing irresponsible and illegal mining. This is very different as well because it's an upgrade of what we did. This is the same Operation Halt, that has gone into the field. We have organized labor that is part of it. We have the Small Scale Miners Association as well, which is also part of it, to make sure that they can be able to get rid of people that are perpetrating acts of illegality along the water bodies.
Dr. Boakye Danquah, the military swoop is estimated to take up to 2 weeks to be able to achieve some of the objectives that is set out to achieve. After 2 weeks, what next? What other tangents will the fight against Galamsey be taking?
Well, so you see, the military strategies and deployment strategies vary from time to time. So as I speak now, the military are in the eastern region for 14 days, and then we'll deploy another team to the same eastern region, deploy some to western region, western, north, and central region. And so the strategies are very clear that we are deploying a lot more military people in the field.
To deploy more military people, okay. In the past, it came up that some military personnel who were sent to fight this menace became complicit in the fight. How is the government going to ensure that this time the personnel we are taking into this fight will stand above water, will stand above board, so that at the end of the day we do not find complicity in their work?
At the deployment time of the Ghana Armed Forces, there were clear instructions that were given to them. And the supervisor, the operations commander, Colonel, made it very clear that none of them are supposed to uniform themselves to join themselves in illegal mining. And so this is not going to happen at all. They have clear instructions to go and clear this menace, and they are following those clear instructions. And they are being supervised as they do that as well.
Dr. Boakye Danquah, yesterday when we spoke with the Deputy General Secretary for the TUC, he said that in their consultation with government, they realized that their call for a state of emergency was not a call in the right direction at the moment, especially as we're looking at elections, and that it gave the government, the president, too much power at a time like this. However, CSOs and other labor unions, concerned citizens, have called for a ban on the small-scale mining. If the state of emergency cannot be achieved at this point, what about the ban, so that the sanitization can be better than, because maybe 2 weeks may not be able to sanitize the sector as
Your
much.
call has been put on hold. Please wait.
As much as we want the sector to be sanitized. Hello, Dr. Wachidankwa. Hello, Dr. Wachidankwa. Okay. So we will do well to establish contact so that we can finish this conversation and finish it well. Like I was saying yesterday, we spoke with the deputy general secretary of the TUC, and he explained why they had made some concessions when it came to going on strike, and that they had suspended the strike because they felt government had met them halfway and government had taken some decisive steps to address the situation of Galamsey. However, they are taking a close look at what government will be achieving as the days go by, and that will also inform their next line of action. However, UTAG says that as for UTAG, they are still going to continue with the strike. We spoke with Professor Victor Mogri, and he said that they will continue with strike. As for them, they are not backing down from the strike that they have declared. Other CSOs and other bodies, other concerned citizens have said that UTAG calling off the strike, organized labor calling off the strike was not a step in the right direction. It's sent a certain signal to Ghanaians that they are in some way complicit in all of this happening, because if you took a very strong stance and which got government on their toes, why not follow through with it so that we could get more out of what you were seeking? Organized labor has explained why they also decided to rescind their decision by suspending the strike. Those who were arrested because of the Democracy Hub protest, they have been released, except for the convener, Baker Vomawo, who is still being held because he initially had an issue with the law, and people are still calling that he be granted bail, he be released from police custody, because it all defeats this fight against Galamsey. Because if I'm coming to fight for Galamsey and I will spend all of these days in police custody, it feels like you're trying to stifle my voice. And these are some of the concerns that concerned citizens have raised about this fight against Galamsey. Like I said, the president has directed that 4 specialized courts be set up to fight Galamsey, and has directed the Attorney General to work hand in hand or closely with the Chief Justice for more courts to be set up where necessary. Adib Sani is a security analyst, and he's joining us on this conversation. Deployment of military personnel to Galamsey prone areas to fight Galamsey, especially those who are doing illegal mining on our water bodies. Good morning, Adib. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning, Adib.
Morning. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure, and congratulations. You're doing a great job. I'm an ardent follower of ABC News.
Thank you. Adib, if history is anything to go by, if past incidences are any precedents to follow, should we or should we not have hope in the military to help in this fight against Galamsey?
Well, in my opinion, I think this is a knee-jerk approach. This is just to get people talking about the fact that government is doing something about it. It's not the first of its kind. Indeed, they say the height of incompetence is doing the wrong thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And if you ask me, the deployment of the military personnel today is not any different from what we've had in the past. And I don't think that would help without a strategy. The only thing that, in my opinion, would make it different and somewhat fruitful would be for politicians to keep their hands off the work of the military and get them to do what they're supposed to do. Recently, I was having a conversation with a soldier friend of mine who said that, look, Adib, I know you and I know full well that if this thing is left to us, Galamsey will not last beyond 48 hours. And I said, yes, I do know, because I trust in Ghana's military. I have so much confidence in them. They've been caught up in the past in stickier situations, yet they've been able to maneuver their way through. How much less Galamsey? But if we have Galamsey sites that are beyond reproach, that the military cannot go, it defeats the very purpose for which they were deployed in the first place. So first and foremost, we have to ensure that all Galamsey sites would be, dealt with. But if you have some, because they are owned by politically exposed persons, it defeats the purpose. That is one. Secondly, I think this would have been much more progressive with a state of emergency announced. Unfortunately, we haven't imposed any state of emergency, so we are bound to have court actions, injunctions, which in my opinion might delay the whole process. But if you have a state of emergency, which is basically suspending some of the laws to allow for government to address a major national security threat, why not? And so without a state of emergency, I must say that we might have issues. Then the third issue is the need for the security services, for the military especially, to collaborate with other security services, especially also the intelligence agencies like the National Intelligence Bureau and the National Signals Bureau. So they are able to provide them actionable intelligence to enable them engage in surgical operations. Because I understand that yesterday, despite the burden of the champ funds, not a single individual was at the site. So the question is, did they receive a tip-off, or is an abandoned Galamsey site? So we need to have a strategy. We need to put up a map on the table and point to all the Galamsey areas and have a strategy as to go in one by one after them, or even concurrently, and we'll be making progress. So, I mean, if you ask me, I think this is just a knee-jerk approach, and it's not any different from what has happened in the past.
Security analyst. Yesterday, when we spoke with the Deputy General Secretary for the TUC, he said that in asking for the declaration of a state of emergency, they've been informed that it is not in the right direction, especially at this time of the year, especially when we are entering into the election season. That will mean giving the president too much powers and also limiting what these places can receive, especially because of the elections. From your point of view as a security analyst, a security person, do you agree to that?
No, I don't. We are dealing with a major national security threat. Fighting Galamsey is fighting terrorism, because this is not just physical terrorism, it is environmental terrorism, it is emotional terrorism. And so we need to approach the fight as if we are fighting terrorism. This is treasonable. This is a major national security issue. The forest cover is being depleted. The oxygen we breathe, they are from the trees, and I'm not sure that we have oxygen meant for NDC or MPP sympathizers. The water that is being destroyed, I'm not sure that when the water is coming through our taps at home, we are asked if we are NDC or MPP before we enjoy the water. We are talking about the destruction of cocoa farms. This year alone, I have lost 2 close friends due to cancer. And the cancer rates that is emerging with doctors, in fact, I've spoken with doctors on the ground. It is disheartening. It is shocking. So we need to hit the nail right on the head. We need to be aggressive about this. But like I've always indicated, beyond the militarized kinetic approach, we need to handle it from the non-kinetic approach as well. It is a multidimensional issue that requires a multidimensional approach to be able to deal with. So in as much as we're concerned with going in full force to force them to stop, we should also be mindful of the fact that Galamsey is a mainstay for a lot of people in these communities. So what social cover do we have for them? What safety nets? So at least if they stop, they would have something to do. Currently, the unemployment rate in Ghana is 14.7%. Youth unemployment is particularly high. For example, in the northern region, it's about 22%. percent. And let's also be mindful that for a lot of these Galamsey communities, the Galamsey actually oils their economy, interestingly. If you have a restaurant or a hotel, business is booming because they are making money. Recently, a friend of mine wanted to sell his car and he was not getting it by. Someone advised him to take the car to a Galamsey community. And that the boys have money. In fact, when he got there within 2 hours, the car was sold. So what do we do to cushion these communities, the economic bit of it? Okay, how do we engage the people? How do we recover what has been destroyed already? Because removing the poisonous substances that they have deliberately put in our water is not going to be an easy effort. What is the cleanup strategy? So we need a comprehensive, all-encompassing approach to deal with this. But the most important ingredients, just like you cook a soup without salt, the salt of this whole thing is for politicians to show the highest level of commitment. Because without that commitment, trust me, we are never going to win this battle.
Adib, in the Professor from Boateng report, it was shown that in the previous deployments of military personnel, some of the military persons were found to be complicit in the illegal mining activities. They were aiding the illegal mining activities. They were providing security to some of these illegal mining companies. What parameters should the military put in place so that this operation is sacrosanct?
Well, I do agree. Indeed, Operation Vanguard, for example, some military officers were lobbying to be part of it because at the point it looked like it was quite lucrative. In some cases, some military men were providing security to these Galamseyers. So for me, I think the way to deal with this is to ensure accountability. Okay? If anybody is found culpable, or to have engaged in acts that contravenes the ethics of the security agency he or she belongs to, the person should be dealt with according to the law, as simple as that. Secondly, we need to rotate as much as possible because there's always a tendency of acquaintanceship built over a period of time. So, for example, if you take an officer to, let's say, Osino, and keep him there for several months, he would make new friends. He will become very acquainted to the community, and that is when you have them easily getting compromised. So as often as possible, they should be rotated. And we should also look at where the officers are coming from. So if you have someone who hails from Osino, ensure the person doesn't go to Osino, or he hails from Konongo, ensure the person is not posted there. Let's keep them where they don't belong, where they don't come from. When we were in school at the University of Ghana, we studied African languages, and they would ask you, they would find out, if you are from Tamale, you don't study Dagbani. If you are from Kumasi, you don't study Chi. I think that is the way to go to get them to act in a professional manner. I do know how difficult it is to stay away from some of these juicy offers, because sometimes someone would come to you with an offer that you have never seen in your life. Perhaps it will take you 20 years on the job before you'll be able to make that money. But it all boils down to that sense of principle that should guide the way we do our work. And knowing full well that if you are not directly affected by Galamsey, your relatives, your parents, your siblings, your uncles, your nieces, your nephews might be affected. So in one way or another, directly or indirectly, every single Ghanaian is affected by this Galamsey menace. And so we have to take it more like a religious responsibility, more like a crusade, like a jihad. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to win this fight because it's so entrenched to the extent that it has more or less become like a norm, like a way of life, a culture. And before you are able to get rid of a culture, you really have to be up to the task. And I think with commitment, we shall survive.
Government is looking at 2 weeks for the deployment of the military. In previous deployments, we've spent millions of Ghana cedis on this. How can government maximize this 2 weeks so that we don't have to spend money again, so that we don't have issues like what happened with Major Mahama, so that we don't have issues that compound to the extent that now we are buckling under the pressure of this Galamsey fight?
Something that has taken decades to form, we are using 2 weeks to defeat it. Come on, let's be serious for once. It's not possible. 2 weeks is not possible. This is so entrenched that it will take more than 2 weeks. And if you are using the Buga means, I mean, go and get them off, the sites, trust me, they will return. And they will return in full force. Just as Aisha one day, she returned, So for me, 2 weeks is woefully inadequate. There is no way we can achieve anything tangible, sustainable within 2 weeks. Because like I said, this is a multi-dimensional issue that requires a plan, a very comprehensive plan for that matter. Just sending soldiers to dislodge them, in my opinion, is not going to help. I'm sorry. There's no way we shall win the fight. Absolutely not. 2 weeks is woefully inadequate.
Adi, it seems in every situation we are too quick to throw in the military to go and fight the situation. Aren't we making Ghanaians used to the military? So much so that now when we see the military in any situation, we really are not affected. We don't care. And the kind of aura, for want of a better word, we should have associated with the military, we do not anymore. And then their effects, for whatever reason, lessens.
Well, if you go on Google and Google my name, I've said a lot about this. I think the last time I spoke about it, I opined that we seem to be gradually, consciously or unconsciously civilianizing the military. I have issues with military following the EC laws when it's the work of the police. I have issues with military providing escort services to a government lawyer and holding his back. I have issues with it. But with this one, it is a threat to the security of this. In fact, it is not just a threat to the security of the state. It is a threat to the survival of the state. That's why I earlier on said we shall survive. They are destroying the state. They are destroying livelihoods. They are destroying lives, as a matter of fact. And so to have the military involved, I think is a good call. But to have the military involved in crowd control is something that I have issues with. Or to have the military at polling stations on election day, no. I think the police would be able to handle that. But considering the exigency of this issue, the seriousness, the precariousness of the threats to national security with respect to Galamsey, I think it is not far-fetched to have the military play that lead role to deal with the menace.
Earlier, you spoke about collaborations between the various security services. Which of them do you believe that we should collaborate, and how can we leverage on that collaboration to be able to do the work effectively?
Okay, so we don't need, the thing is, the military and other security services don't have to operate in silos, and mostly that's been the thing that we are accustomed to. The military do their thing, police do their thing, customs do their thing, immigration do their thing. But what we want is a more collaborative coordination between the security services. So, for example, some of these goods that are mined find their way out of the country. They are smuggled out. And I think that customs has a very important role to play in that regard. In some cases, we have foreigners from Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, and the rest engaging in illegal mining in Ghana. Recently, I think somewhere last year, the military went to a mining site and they arrested, and most of them were foreigners. They took them to the immigration headquarters. And from my sources, the immigration was like, we were not aware about this operation. So how are you able to, as a military, tell who is Ghanaian or not? So we don't want to have anything to do with it. I remember they were taken to an open space. I think it was Elwa, somewhere like that. And they were left there. I don't know what has become of that case. So if you have the immigration also involved, it would help. The police, which is in charge of the internal security of the state, also have a very important role to play. So if all of these security agencies come together and work in a coherent, coordinated fashion, I'm sure we will be able to, as it were, make headways. But it is not just the job of the men and women in uniform. Recently, someone asked if we can count on politicians to deal with the menace. I said, I'm sorry, no. The people would have to take the fight upon themselves at the very community level. Just as we have a neighborhood watch, some operating around the Tesano, Abeka, La Paz, Kwashiman, Awoshi area, and even Fadama. And they are doing well, I must say. If we put together watchdogs to go out there and stop this, I think it would help. But of course, they don't have to stop it with force because they might not necessarily be trained to deal with such situation. And I must also add that a lot of these Galamsey sites are washed with weapons, from AR-15 assault rifles to M16 to AK-47s, based on data that I had from a swoop that was done some years ago. So surely if you go in as civilians who are not armed, that can be catastrophic. But if they work closely with the security services, I'm sure it would help. The media also has a very important role to play, and I must congratulate you. And this is personal because I'm also a media person myself, a member of the Ghana Journalists Association. The fact that we have given this issue prominence within the media landscape, I think is helping to a large extent, and it's making people stand on their toes. And we are holding officials to account for their inaction. And I think we are making progress. But there is, I must say, a lot more to be done going forward.
The government has proposed a national pact so that all parties can sign to this pact about or around Galamsey, so that we can hold everybody accountable to the pact. What, in your estimation, should be the parameters that should govern the pact that should be signed?
I don't know why we are so enthused with signing on paper. I don't know why. I remember just recently there was also a peace pact, and a whole lot of hullabaloo around it. I don't believe in paperwork. I don't believe in it.
So you'd rather they?
I don't know whether
you'd rather they speak about it, go into a gentleman's agreement.
I rather think there should be proper commitment on the ground. I mean, I can sign a paper and it will gather dust on the shelf.
But there'll be a traceable thing. There'll be something you can always come back to, that on so and so day, Adib and Abena signed this pact that there will be no Galamsey.
Abena, we don't need the pact to sign Galamsey. The thing is, they are destroying Ghana. We don't need the pact to sign it. I mean, I find it a waste of time. I mean, to follow your car to go somewhere, sign paper. We need action. I don't know whether because I'm a project staff, because I've worked with, the GIFMIS project before, and, I believe in outcomes. I believe in actions on the ground rather than just putting pen to paper. So in my opinion, there's no need. We just have to get to work, and all the politicians would have to commit, because I have a major challenge with how we politicize national issues in the country. In the end, we might lose sight of the crux of the matter and rather talk about the politics. This should be free from politics. This is a national assignment, and we are all actors. We all have very important roles to play in that regard. So let's put aside the politics. I mean, it's creating a cacophony of noises that is, taking precedence over the main issues on the ground. I think unless we show that commitment, it is going to be a long, long fight ahead. But with that commitment exhibited, we shall win within the shortest possible time. But definitely, Abena, not within 2 weeks.
Definitely not within 2 weeks. But with commitment, we can get somewhere. Thank you for joining us, Adib.
Thank you so much.
Adib Sani is a security analyst. He shared his thoughts on the fight against Galamsey. The president has deployed the military, the Ghana Armed Forces, to go and fight Galamsey on behalf of the country, and also sets up 4 specialized courts. The AG and the Chief Justice are to work so that if more courts will need to be set up, they would do that. But it's been a long road coming to this point of deploying the military, setting up courts, taking some decisions on Galamsey, and it's been because Ghanaians have spoken. Ghanaians have drummed home the devastating effects of Galamsey and what it could mean for us. Eco-conscious calls it ecocide. They say that we are in an ecocide, and today Adib has said that what we are fighting, Galamsey, a fight against Galamsey is a fight against terrorism. Terrorism against ourselves as a people, terrorism against water, the land and all. Today, the Accra Diocese of the Catholic Church are on an environmental prayer walk. We spoke with the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference earlier in the weekend. He mentioned the reason for this environmental prayer walk, another step in the right direction to raise awareness of Galamsey and also to drum home the need for Galamsey to be eradicated. Galamsey is not sustainable at all, and it rids the nation of the resources that we have, and also after ridding it, leaves us with illness, with sickness and death if we do not take a look at it, because heavy metal poisoning is something that we should not underemphasize or underplay at all. So this is a conversation on Galamsey. In the coming days, we'll see how far the fights would have gone. At the moment, the military that were deployed have been able to collect and burn some chamfangs, but we are looking forward to better news than this. This is a step in the right direction, but we're hoping that we hear more, because like Adib said, the chamfangs have been seized. However, we didn't hear of anybody who was arrested. Is it that it is an abandoned Galamsey site, or they were tipped off and left to the side before the military got there? We are wishing the military well in their endeavors, and we are hoping that the fight is a fight that Ghana wins and not a fight that Ghana buckles under. So that's all for this discussion on Galamsey. Let's get into another discussion. We are a few weeks, a few months and some days into the elections, and because elections are drawing closer, Ghanaians are very interested in everything that happens on the road towards elections. The EC says that they are printing notices of poll. Yesterday, what we heard and what was circulating was that the EC was on the way to print ballot papers, and the NDC raised concerns. The NDC said no, the EC is not well within their rights to do that at the moment, and the NDC listed certain things the EC had to go through before getting to that point. EC says that they are refuting all of these widespread reports and rumors that are suggesting that the EC have commenced the printing of ballot papers for the presidential and parliamentary elections. However, they are clarifying, and with a statement they released yesterday, October 10, that the EC is rather commencing the printing of notices of polls and not ballot papers. They are printing notices of polls, not ballot papers. The notices of polls are official documents that list the names and symbols of candidates contesting in the elections, and they serve as an essential guide to the electorate. These notices are distributed ahead of the elections to ensure voters are well informed about their choices. The Commission explained that printing of ballot papers will only begin. Printing of ballot papers will only begin. Pardon me. the conversation with the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission says that the printing of ballot papers will only begin after ballot statistics have been provided to all parties involved in the elections. They say that what they are doing at the moment is the printing of the notice of polls, which is important for the lead up to the elections. Like I said, they said that the printing of the ballot papers can only begin after the ballot statistics have been provided to all of the parties and stakeholders involved. And that has always been the practice. They will not deviate from that practice. However, prior to this development, the NDC demanded of the EC to halt the ballot paper printing process until the Commission provided detailed statistics on the printing of ballot papers. In a statement signed by the General Secretary of the NDC, Fifi Kwete, the statement read that the party's request stems from past concerns relating to the printing process, particularly allegations of the printing of additional ballot papers during previous elections. The Electoral Commission has announced that it would use 40,975 polling stations for the upcoming December elections. This was confirmed in a press statement signed by Deputy Chairman Samuel Tete. The number of the polling stations for the 2024 elections reflects an increase of over 4,000 compared to the 2020 elections. So between the 2020 elections and the 2024 elections, the number of polling stations have increased by 4,000. They have increased by 4,000. This is to help with easy access and also ease congestion at the voting centers. This move by the EC is part of its efforts to ensure a smooth and efficient electoral process with adequate facilities in place for the growing number of voters expected to participate in the upcoming elections. Around these conversations, an advocacy group has also said something. Who is this advocacy group? It is the Election Watch Ghana, and they have submitted an RTI request, a right to information request to the Electoral Commission, and they are seeking, per the RTI request, comprehensive details regarding the contract for printing of ballots and notices of polls. Their request, made under the Right to Information Act 989, and in accordance with Article 21F of the 1992 Constitution, calls for specific information about procurement process. This includes the tender publication date, details of the companies that submitted bids, and the criteria the EC used to select the winning contractors. These are some of the things they are looking at. These are some of the things the group is looking at. Let's take a look at what this group is requesting under the RTI request they have made. So Election Watch Ghana is requesting from the EC that the date of publication of tender for the printing of the contracts, the date of publication of tender for the printing contracts, including publication medium, which medium did they use to publicize the tender, and the details of the bid for all of these contracts. Well, as we look at these, let's speak with Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, who is the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. Hello, Dr. Rashid. Fine, thank you, sir. How are you too?
I'm terrific.
Yesterday we spoke with you. You said you were going to have a meeting with the Electoral Commission. Are you done with your meeting?
Yes, we just finished with a meeting with the EC right now at their head office, and it has to do with the printing of the notices of pool. They've got a sample for leadership of political parties and candidates to verify, and be sure that everything is set. We'll sign off on it, and then they can now proceed with the printing of the notices of poll. This was what we indicated to them yesterday at the meeting when they called that their board meeting. We described as board meeting because that meeting was not supposed to be for party agents. You can't just proceed with issues like that of ballot papers printing and then notices of poll and you invite party agents and expect them to take decision on behalf of the parties. That's not the case. And that we made it clear to them that we will not accept that. And that's why they called the meeting today. So we went and signed the notice of poll for them. Some two parties had issues with their symbols and colors. So they will rectify that one and then proceed with the printing of the notices of poll. We have no problem with that. We have problem with them over the ballot papers, of which they came out today and clarified. And instead of them to be magnanimous in accepting that they made an error and apologize to Ghanaians, because the NDC, our eagle eyes, caught them yesterday on that matter. And then you see them with their own propaganda ways again, trying to insinuate that some party or some group of people are saying that they are going to print ballot papers. They are not printing ballot papers. They are only printing statement of who. Dear, have you read their letter that invited our agent yesterday? Their letter was asking that they should come. We are going to start printing of notices of poll and ballot papers. That's what they were trying to do.
Dr. Tanko, isn't it enough that the EC has clarified?
That's why I'm saying that if we hadn't pushed them, if we hadn't pushed them, and if our national chairman, the General Mosquito, if he hadn't issued a threat yesterday through his press conference, and a letter written by our General Secretary to them, clarifying that we needed to have the ballot statistics and the register before they can proceed with the ballot printing. Do you think these people would have clarified this thing? They wanted to go ahead and do the printing.
Dr. Tanko, it seems like every decision the EC has taken, it has had to take you and the NDC to steer them on the right direction.
Of course, that's why you need to congratulate NDC. We are protecting the democracy of Ghana. And everybody should congratulate NDC, led by John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency. Otherwise, you see the path this EC, they were cruising. Dangerous path. They would have thrown the country into anarchy. But we had to always correct them and stop them and bring them back to the right path. And so Ghanaians should be thankful that the NDC, our eagle eyes, is helping shape our electoral system. And we will continue to do that until we get out the MPP from office come December 7th.
So yeah, well, Dr. Tanko, so when you went to sign your notice of poll, everything you expected is there and is right. We will not hear of any other developments where things didn't go as you wanted.
Yes. When I was signing, I took pictures of what I've signed. And I know my symbol. I've looked at it. I've looked at the arrangement of my candidate name, John Dramani Mahama. And I took notice of his picture too. That was what we presented to them before I signed. And so if they go and do anything outside what I've signed, we will not take it. And they know it. Our opponents also came and signed. All the other political parties, they were present. Only two parties had issues with their symbols. And I'm sure they will correct that one for them.
Dr. Tanko, a group called Election Watch Ghana have submitted an RTI request requesting of some information from the EC about the contract bidding and all of other things. Do you think that it is the step in the right direction at this time of the year?
Well, that is their democratic right to do. I mean, we didn't pass the RTI law to gather dust. We passed it for implementation. And then so if people are testing it by applying through the RTI Commission to have information about procurement processes and electoral commission, well intentioned, why not? They are Ghanaians, they are taxpayers as well, and then it is within their democratic right to do that. We will not stampede them. That is not the duty of political parties. to be asking the Electoral Commission on these issues. But if civil society individuals think that, look, the way these people have selected the 8 printing houses, we want to find out what procedure did they take before appointing them to or engaging them to do the printing of the ballot papers and notices of poll. So it's within their rights to do that.
Dr. Tanko, is NDC okay with that on that side? 8 printing houses have been selected to do the printing. Is NDC okay? Is NDC does NDC feel that those 8 printing houses are good enough to do the printing?
Well, let them start. That's why we are deploying our party agents. We have trained our agents and supervisors. And that is why we are demanding the statistics. If we get the ballot statistics, even you can bring the devil to come and print. We don't care. We will monitor it. The devil cannot print outside the statistics. That is why we are looking for it. Because when we have the statistics, I know the number you can print in your printing house, the quantum. And so if you print more than that, then you know that you are going to have issues with me. Certainly. That is why we are asking them, bring us the statistics. Let us have the statistics, the voter statistics and all that. Then we can now go ahead with the printing. In that case, it makes it easier for us. Even if you go and bring devil to come and print, we know the quantity he's going to print. So he can't print more than that. Unlike previously, they were just doing it by hand printing. Printing with our statistics and all that. That thing will not happen. And so the only thing is that we are telling them, the printing houses, they should know that this year, the NDC they are dealing with, we have eagle eyes. Our eyes are wide open. If they print more than even 1 ballot assigned for them, they will have to contain us. So they should know that they should print within the quantity that they are giving them. If they say you should print 1,000, just print your 1,000 and half your piece. If you go and print 1,001, you will contain us in your printing house.
Dr. Tanko, at this point when you have signed for the notices for the printing of the notice of poll, and you've also okay with what the EC is saying they are going to do, the EC has clarified that it's just the notice of polls. Are you now going to release your agents to go for the training as the EC is calling for?
Oh, very well. That one there, we are good to go for that one. We've already even given them our list of agents who are going to come and monitor and supervise the printing of the notices of poll. And they acknowledge receipt at the meeting this morning with them. They did acknowledge that yes, they received our letter containing our agents and our supervisors. Our opponents, they don't have. I won't talk for them. They don't even have. As we speak now, they couldn't send their list. You see, these are the things we are talking. They are not ready for government. They are tired. It took 2 months for them to leave office. So they are very tired. We are serious-minded people. We know what we are about. We already presented our list, and they are good to know that we have signed off the notice of poll. If they correct the other people, colors and pictures, fair enough, the printing can start. Our agents will be there at the printing house.
Dr. Tanko, can you let us know who some of these agents are, the agents you have sent to the EC?
That one there, when you go to the printing houses, you see them. They will be there. Top notch, dedicated, high-class people who are going to monitor everything that they do in there.
Well,
you will see them there.
We'll see them there. Well, Dr. Tanko, we are joined by Kweku Kwashi. He is with the NPP, an MPP communications member and a governance spokesperson at the Ministry of Finance. Kweku, you are welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, my sister.
Kweku, has the NPP...
Quite clearly, but I think I felt it was a bit faint.
Okay, I would do well to speak up so you can hear me better. Dr. Rashid Tanko, who is the Deputy Director for Elections and IT, is also on the call. He says that the NDC has signed for the printing of the notices of poll. Has MPP also signed?
I didn't hear that well.
Dr. Rashid Tanko says that he's coming from a meeting with the EC where the NDC has signed for the printing of the notices of poll. Has the MPP also signed to that effect?
Well, I'm yet confirmed that I believe it will be done. Once everything is in order and we are fine with everything, I believe in no time that should be done.
Kweku, are you confident in the EC's work up until this point to run a very credible and transparent election?
Thank you. I think that we should all understand that when it comes to transparency of elections, NPP as a party has been at the forefront of calling for transparency. Remember, way back in 1992, we started with opaque ballot boxes, with the people who called for transparent ballot boxes, because we want transparency. We're the same party that called for the biometric, devices to ensure that people don't do double registration and so on. And so when it comes to transparency, we stand for transparency. Now, so far, from what the EC is doing, and the last time they had the IPAC meeting, you saw the EC IT director actually taking the pains to go through, step by step, explaining the processes that happens, at the EC. And I think that by and large, and we're also very, 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 very watchful with a keen eye. We are watching all that goes on at the EC, just like the NDC, and we think that so far, what has been put in place, we're quite, satisfied, and believe that the EC will, as always, run a very credible, fair elections to the satisfaction of everybody, be you a loser or a winner.
The NDC says that it seems in all of these conversations about the EC, they have been the one to whip the EC in line. They have been the one to direct the EC on the right path, and that Ghanaians should applaud them for this job well done. NPP, what are you also doing in making sure that the EC follows a good road? Because NDC is very confident that they are the ones who are at the moment gatekeeping the work of the Electoral Commission ahead of the elections.
On the contrary, my sister, I disagree with that. The NDC are only acting in accordance with the grand plan to create doubts in the minds of Ghanaians, to create doubts in the minds of their following, for the impending defeats that they will face in the coming elections. It is a grand plan. Quite recently, they raised many issues with the EC. When the EC gave the provisional register to every party, they raised issues. The EC gave the platform on live TV for you to come and explain your issues and present to everybody what you have. We saw the disgrace that happened there. We saw how the elections director came there with absolutely nothing. You understand me? We saw how the EC took its time to explain things to the satisfaction of almost everybody there except the NDC. The platform was given for you to prove to Ghanaians what you were asking, or what you were proposing, or what you were complaining about. That platform was given, and you never took advantage of it. You had nothing to show. It was mere talk. It was mere noise, precisely noise to create doubts in the minds of their following. Listen, the NDC realizes that they are losing the election on policy. When it comes to policy, up till now, John Mahama and the NDC haven't been able to explain one single policy coherently to any Ghanaian. And they see that they are losing the elections on policy, especially when Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia started his campaign, explaining simple policies to people. They've seen that the ground is shifting towards NPP. So the only way is to now create doubts in the minds of Ghanaians. In fact, to the extent that the flag bearer is insulting the clergy, is insulting chiefs and so on, it's part of a grand agenda. But Ghanaians have seen through all of that. And Ghanaians are waiting and waiting to be in line and make sure that the good policies of this government are continued by Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And again, he will also have his own vision, to build on the Ghana, that we all desire. So personally, we don't believe that if an NDC is not calling EC to do anything right, you're only shouting. Don't forget that it is the NPP in government. It is government that's resourcing the EC. So whatever they are doing to make sure there's transparency, to make sure things are smooth, to make sure things are convenient, is being funded by government. So we're actually doing more than NDC can claim.
Dr. Tanko.
Yes.
You are sending your agents to the EC. You are telling us that when we go to the printing press, we'll see them there. Are we to look out for making sure that what happened in 2020 doesn't happen again, with stories about drinking tea and all? 2020, we heard stories about drinking tea when you sent your agents. In 2024, should we expect that this does not repeat itself?
Before I answer that, let me tell my good friend, Cotton, anytime he's coming to speak on air, he should clear from his party leaders. It appears he doesn't understand what they are doing. He's speaking from his own mind. Since yesterday, he should have been following the discussion on this ballot printing and the notices of polls, so that he doesn't come on air and talk differently from what his party is doing. If he doesn't know, as of yesterday, his own party were in support of our position at the Electoral Commission. We nearly had a joint press together.
What changed? What changed?
The issue about the ballot printing. When the EC wrote the letter and said...
No, you are saying you nearly had a joint press, and I'm asking what changed.
Yeah, I'm saying the press was that, the thing was that we wanted the press to know that instead of interviewing us separately, we could just stand together and let them know that this is our position as political parties, that we are not going to accept the printing of the ballot press when they don't have the statistics. Unless the statistics is ready, and then the register is ready, then we can go ahead. And even the issue of the notice of poll, yesterday they wanted the agents to go there and authenticate it. We stopped it and told them that is not a procedure. We needed to have a meeting today. We will look at it as leaders of the party and sign up on it before. So when he's speaking, he should always refer to his party leadership. He shouldn't come and speak with his mind. And secondly, he's talking of the IPAC meeting. I don't know whether he was watching. He was watching the Chinese movie or what. On the
Dr. Tanko, if you say that he is watching a Chinese movie, that will not be a fair.
I'm saying that when he was speaking, I was quiet. Let him be a gentleman.
It's not true.
Let him be a gentleman. I was quiet. I could have intervened in what he was talking. When we went for the IPAC meeting,
Dr. Tanko,
he should ask his people.
Dr.
Was
Tanko,
the IPAC meeting?
Dr. Tanko, before you continue, I believe that saying that he was watching a Chinese movie is not in good taste, and I believe you would like to withdraw that.
Well, let me tell you, when he was speaking and referring that my boss came there and we had nothing, we were just fooling people over there. That they gave a platform for us to talk and we didn't take advantage. Who gave us a platform? That's why whether he was watching a Chinese movie. Was that a platform
Dr. Tanko,
to come and demonstrate to the world?
Dr. Tanko.
Didn't you watch it? You were a media man. You were there. Didn't you see? Was the platform meant for NDC to come and demonstrate to the whole world that these are our evidence?
But Dr. Tanko, and the NDC had the opportunity to take the microphone and speak.
Yes, and when we spoke at that day, didn't you see why is the Electoral Commission changed from their old ways of doing things to now saying that we are giving you a new revised provisional register? When they were clapping for them, the Electoral Commission were not interested in the clap because they knew that our register was not credible. And now they are giving a revised provisional voter register, not the old one. It's through the NDC initiative that they had to abandon that one. Didn't the Electoral Commission admit that they were removing the 243,000 old transfer that they've added to the register? Was he watching some movie somewhere? If you don't want the journalist to prove
impropriety anywhere. You couldn't prove anything, Dr. Tanko.
We couldn't prove it, but the Electoral Commission removed it. If we don't prove it,
you couldn't prove anything.
I said we didn't prove, but Electoral Commission removed it. How did they remove it?
You could not prove that somebody was doing something.
The man was watching Chinese movie. He was not watching what was going on there.
You couldn't prove anything.
When the Electoral Commission, the illegal transfers, that occasion in Kusiga and all that, who brought it out? Was it MPP who brought it? Was it MPP who spoke about the illegal transfer of goods? What is this gentleman talking about? When they were talking of the corrupt files, they admitted and said their system, most of the files were corrupt, and they had to create even a new register known as missing voters list, amounting to about 1,551. Where did they get it from?
And did those corrupt files go to anyone's advantage?
When they are doing issues, go and watch take your time and listen to it carefully.
Did that go to anyone's advantage?
Today, as we speak now, they are bringing what is called another provisional register. The Electoral Commission is bringing another provisional register. And they are asking that we should look at it and even come with a template. If there are issues with the register, we use the template and bring it for them to correct. Then when you are talking to people like that, they must know that we are serious-minded people, not Chinese movie watchers.
We are equally serious-minded.
We don't come and say things like that.
That EC is doing something to help some party. You couldn't prove that.
I am telling you that, brother, don't say that we didn't have evidence. I am saying our evidence has forced the Electoral Commission to abandon their own
evidence somebody is
and brought a new one.
You have no evidence of bloatedness. There was no such evidence.
We don't have evidence, yet they have changed. Our evidence, we don't have evidence, yet they have changed. Yet they are running away from their old register and they are coming to a new provisional register. They are doing another exhibition.
As far as I'm concerned.
We don't have evidence. So those things, those evidence that Electoral Commission are using to change the register, is it coming from MP?
Well, Dr. Tanko, away from that, I was asking that. Dr. Tanko.
I'm saying that anytime you want to speak, let him refer to his party leaders. They will brief him well before he comes.
Dr. Tanko.
Speaking differently from the position of their leaders.
Dr. Tanko.
I'm speaking based on questions I'm being asked.
Dr. Tanko, I was asking that in 2020, we had issues about drinking tea from your agents. we are moving into 2024, where now you are allowing your agents to go and supervise. Dr. Tanko, my question is that what is the NEC going to do to make sure that what happened in 2020 does not repeat itself in 2024? Because you have said that you are putting all your things in place.
I'm saying that you are not talking to Dr. Tanko, is that not it?
I am talking to Dr. Tanko.
Was it the one you were talking to?
So are you saying that the one who was there in 2020 didn't do a good job?
That is why we are saying that you have seen enough that this current NDC is ready for power.
So the former NDC was not ready for power.
I am saying that please listen and listen attentively. I am saying that we are ready for power. If things did not go well for us in 2020, that doesn't mean that we didn't do our part. The party did its part in 2020. We did all that we could. Don't forget, if you want us to go to history, we will tell you how they rigged the election. And your program will not end here. I will demonstrate to you, even today's meeting, we indicated to them that the issue of the statement of code, that is the Form 8A and B, we have to sign off on it before they go to the printing house. You saw the kind of things they printed up those days. And we are saying that issues that happened in 2020, everybody has learned his lessons, albeit the bitter way. We have learned our lessons from the 2020, yet things did not go the way we wanted it. But we have moved on. Our people did their best in 2020. The officers in charge, they did their best at that time and managed everything they could to let us win. Unfortunately, this electoral commission rigged the election for the NPP. And I have evidence to prove it that the election was rigged properly.
Dr. Tanko, what's the evidence?
I'll give you evidence. What evidence do you want? When you go to a polling station and then you go and vote, Nanado will get 700 votes and your mama will get 2 votes. What type of voting is that?
Dr. Tanko.
Does it make sense to you? Does it make sense to you?
Kweku, Dr. Tanko says that
we have 9 executives plus 2 party agents. Put them together, 11. And you mean the NDC could not garner 11 votes from their polling station?
But Dr. Tanko, you don't get into the box with each member of the party.
Let's not go back to 2020. You want us to see what is going on here. And I'm saying that we have trained our agents. We are confident that the agents have learned their lessons from the 2020 episode. They know what happened. And this time, look, that's why we are saying posterity is the best teacher. And experience is the best teacher as well.
Well, Kweku, so Dr. Tanko, let me go to Kweku.
We have learned our lessons, and we have done what is expected of us. And I can assure you, this year election, if NPP they get 40%, they have tried.
Wow, Kweku, Dr. Tanko says that if NPP gets 40% in this year's elections, you have tried, because in the last elections, the EC rigged the elections for you.
My sister. So Dr. Tanko is exhibiting what is typical of the NDC. He just made allegations of some rigging somewhere without evidence. The very same thing they went to do on live TV for all of us to see in this country. See, let me tell you, a credible, free and fair elections is even more important to the EC than to NDC or MPP. Why do I say this? Imagine that there are improper transfers. Say I'm in Tema West. I go to my polling stations to go and vote, and say 400 people have been transferred from there to say Northwest region. Someone goes to Oti region, and 1,000 have been transferred to Northern region. Somebody goes to Ashanti, 2,000 have been transferred to Volta region. Imagine the chaos in this country. So the EC is very much aware of this, and I believe they know this, and are working to make sure that things are in the right places.
Would they have done it?
In fact, in all the allegations that NDC raised recently, right? If you remember, there was a high court in Kumasi that actually ordered the EC to, take back some transfer that was done in favor of the NDC. And so far, in all the allegations they've raised, the baseless allegations they've raised, there hasn't been one single one that has been proven to be in the favor of the NPP. Not one. Pusiga itself is a stronghold of the NDC. Those transfers happen in the Pusiga. Who was it for? Right? Who was it for? Who was the benefit? So far, even though they keep accusing the EC of being an MPP person, everything that has been shown so far is to their benefit. and not to the MPP. So I'm saying this. Everybody is ready for the elections. We are also ready, as we've been every time. We are vigilant. We train our people. And every ballot will be counted. Nobody will be disenfranchised. Every single ballot will be counted to the last one. And what God has ordained, what God has said, cannot be changed by anybody. Be you NPP, be an EC, be you an EC, who's for NDC or NPP, it cannot happen. My sister, we all know that Charlotte Osei is NDC. But how about Charlotte Osei? But what happened? Once the people vote and counting is done, nothing can be changed. Nothing can be changed. So, for us as a party, we are selling our policies, and Ghanaians are buying into those policies. I mentioned earlier, the NDC and their flag bearer up until this day haven't been able to explain one single policy. It's totally incoherent. They can't stand on it, and they see our flag bearer giving simple, workable, visionary policies that is swaying people in our favor, and that's why they're making the noise. But yes, for assurance of everybody, we are also working to make sure that we are vigilant. There's transparency. No one cheats anybody. So if he's saying that, oh, if MPP does anything, we're also telling them the NDC shouldn't try anything funny, because we are equally eagle-eyed. Equally eagle-eyed.
You are equally eagle-eyed. Let me go back to Dr. Tanko. Dr. Tanko, your national chairman has said that the NDC will meet squarely any act of discrimination against people crossing into the country via land to vote. And he said this in Ziope, in the Agotime Ziope constituency, which lies on the Ghana-Togo border. And he is questioning the intentions of the ROPAL law, which has been passed by the NPP up until the elections. And he's saying that you are going to resist. Obviously, people in another country people who are not Ghanaians cannot vote in our elections. But then there are Ghanaians in the border towns. When you say resist, what do you mean by resist?
Before that, do you transfer votes to your stronghold? I'm asking, if you have a stronghold, do you go and transfer votes to that stronghold again? To do what? If Pusiga is our stronghold, why would NDC transfer votes to Pusiga again? That's what I'm saying. Some of these things they speak, they don't understand the process. You are illegally transferring votes to show up your numbers in Pusiga. It's the same Pusiga that we arrested you. Your officers were using fake Ghana cards to register people. When we talk about it, NIA quickly rushed there and said they were registering people along the border.
When you say your officers, are you speaking about EC or the NPP?
By Electoral Commission and NPP, are they not the same?
Dr. Tanko, I thought we had gone past that in our last conversation.
He said, I'll give you evidence to show you that they are the same group. Look, we are saying that they transfer illegal voters. This is illegal transfer. Pusiga is our stronghold. How come are you saying that NDC is transferring votes to Pusiga? How can you do that? Who transfer votes? Will you transfer votes to Manchia MPP?
There was an issue with Manchia South where the judge ruled that.
I am saying that is why I'm saying that Manchia South, the issue, you see, he's shifting the goalpost, and he seems not to get what we are talking about. The issue about the Manchia South one he's talking about, it's not about illegal transfer. He's talking about a transfer. The people they transferred there was occasion that somebody is saying that they have not lived up to that number of months they are supposed to live in that constituency. That is why they are challenging the transfer.
Well, Dr. Tanko, let me bring you back. Let me bring you back to the question I asked.
I'm saying that let me answer it. You were saying that NDC has been transferring people to Pusiga, and I'm asking him, who does that? Who transfer voters to his stronghold? If not an opponent who will want to show up his number, that will be looking for votes somewhere to bring it to that constituency. And they were illegal. Yeah. They were doing illegal transfers because those people didn't even know that they were transferring their votes out.
Well, Dr. Tanko, let me bring you back. Let me bring you back to the conversation. Yes, the border issue.
The border that you are talking of. You see, people live in Togo, and they are Ghanaians. People live in Ivory Coast, they are Ghanaians. People live in Togo, they are Ghanaians. Just like people who live in America, London, Go to London and see. We have a whole community, which is Ghana community. Ghanaians. And they will come down to vote come December 7th. They have voter IDs. Some of them, they came down and registered. Are you going to stop them at the airport when they arrive? Just because they are coming from America or Britain, you want to stop them from voting? It's the same way we are telling them. They shouldn't think that people who live around borderlines are not Ghanaians. There are Ghanaians who are living in those communities. They have voter ID. They are registered voters. And so you had opportunity to challenge them during the registration. If we did not challenge them during the registration and they passed through the process, all right, and then got into the register, and then when it gets to election time, you cannot stop them. That's why our national chairman was saying, these are eligible voters who are Ghanaians residing across the borderline. And then, so when it's time for election, they have every right to cross over to their mother country and vote. That is what he's saying. The law allows that. And we are saying that if an overzealous officer who will sit there and want to prevent people like that from voting, we won't take it. We won't take it. That will be illegal.
Well, you won't take it because that will be illegal. Well, Dr. Tanko, we'll be looking at this conversation again, especially in the lead to the elections. Kweku, before you go, is the NPP well organized ahead of the elections? Have you put everything in place to make sure that you go in the elections well prepared?
My sister, you asked my brother a question about some foreigners, those who are outside the country will come and vote. Let's be clear about this. NPP is a democracy promoting party. We believe in democracy, and so nobody will be disenfranchised. In so long as you fall within the law, nobody will be prevented from doing anything. It's so all the declarations, all these accusations are still part of the grand plan to throw dust in the eyes of their following, to raise doubts in the minds of Ghanaians. Instead of focusing on policy, they just raise allegations. That's what they're doing. Everybody will have the chance to vote. Once you have to vote, you have a chance to vote, and nobody will prevent anybody.
Well, so if you're saying NDC is throwing dust into the eyes of Ghanaians, how about the government ramp up the education of what should be happening around that time, so that people are clear in their minds that the government is not seeking to disenfranchise any voter who may come through the voter Togoland?
It is ongoing. Education is ongoing. NCC is working. It is ongoing. And the fact that somebody who hasn't heard that's happening in all those towns, it's ongoing everywhere. And as you asked, listen, NPP is ready for these elections, as we have always been ready. We are ready. We'll be vigilant. We'll make sure there's free and fair elections. We'll count every ballot. Nobody will be disenfranchised. NPP is fully ready for elections. So rest assured, we are doing everything that a party has to do. A party that has a plan, a party that has a positive strategy has to do to make sure that we win the elections. We are doing that, and we win it fair and free and square.
Okay, you win it fair, free and square. Thank you for speaking with us, Kweku.
Thank you, my sister.
Kweku Kwashi is a government spokesperson at the Ministry of Finance and a member of the NPP communications team. And Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer also joined us for this conversation. He is the Deputy Director for Elections and IT for the NDC. The NDC says that they have gone to sign the printing of the notice of polls, and are ready to send their agents to the EC for everything that needs to be done. The NDC says that they will be delivering Ghana from the hands of the NPP come December 7. And NPP also believes that they will be retaining power because they have the policies, they have sold the policies against NDC not selling their policies. NPP believes that they will be retaining power come December 7. We're having these conversations about the EC. The EC is going ahead to print the notice of polls. Contrary to what had been circulated earlier, the Electoral Commission says that they are not printing ballot papers. That is not their standard practice because they have to release some statistics to all stakeholders involved in the elections before printing of ballot papers can begin. So at the moment, what they are printing are the notice of poll as should be done so that everybody sees what is happening. However, a group called Election Watch Ghana has made an RTI request, a right to information request of the EC. They want to know the contract, what the details of the contract of printing of the ballots and notice of polls and everything concerning that. In subsequent conversations on ABC in the morning, we will engage with Election Watch Ghana to understand what necessitated this request, this RTI request, and what they seek to achieve by the end of this request. This brings us to the end of our discussion for today on ABC in the morning. Stay with us. Let's take a breather. We will be back.
But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Votes for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Baumia. Baumia means business. Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing health care for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Votes for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Baumia. Baumia means business. Over the past 8 years, the NPP has significantly improved support for our most vulnerable citizens. From expanding school meal programs, enrolling 300,000 more people in the LEAP initiative, enhancing health care for expectant mothers, we've strengthened the fabric of our society. But our work isn't done. We are committed to further enhancing these programs and introducing new initiatives to ensure that every Ghanaian has the opportunity to thrive. Votes for progress. Vote for care. Vote for Baumia. Baumia means business.
In 2017, the NPP and accessibility. Our efforts have greatly improved government interactions, making life easier for every Ghanaian. However, our vision doesn't stop here. We aim to further expand and modernize Ghana's digital landscape. The journey towards a fully integrated digital society continues. Stand with us. Vote for it.
Let's get straight into politics today. The conversation on politics today is one that you would love to hear and one that you love to participate in. So politics today is up next. On politics today, we are looking at the female factor on the road to Jubilee House. The female factor on the road to Jubilee House. In recent years, Ghana has seen a growing momentum in the push for greater women's representation in politics. While historically Ghana's political landscape has been dominated by men, the 2024 elections present an opportunity for women to make a case in the wake of ongoing efforts to achieve gender parity in governance. The path to women's representation in Ghanaian politics has been slow but a steady one. Since the country's return to democratic governance in 1992, women have made notable strides through their participation has often been confined to legislative and ministerial roles rather than the highest office. The journey for women for presidency began in 2008 when 3 women were selected as running mates. In 2016, the first female, Nana Konadu Rawlings, contested for presidency as flag bearer of the National Democratic Party, NDP. The number rose to 3 in 2020, and now the number has decreased to 2 in this year's elections, 2024. Let's take a look at women's representation in governance and on the road to elections in Ghana. In the 2008 elections, there was no female presidential candidate. However, there were 3 female running mates. 2012, fast track 2012, no female presidential candidates, but 3 female running mates. In 2016, 1 female presidential candidate, and then there was 1 female running mate. In 2020, we saw 3 female presidential candidates and 2 female running mates. Here, this time in 2024, we see 2 female presidential candidates and we see 4 female running mates. Let's speak with Dr. Samuel Afriyie, who is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, on this conversation. Let's assess the impact of women in the 2024 elections. Good morning, Doc. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Dr. Afriyie. Good morning. Okay, sir. I can hear you. I can hear you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, and greetings to your cherished viewers as well.
Thank you. Dr. Afriyie, for the first time in the Fourth Republic, we are having not for the first time. I mean, in the last elections, we have 3. In this elections, we have 2 women running for the highest office of the land. So far, 2 women, 4 running mates, which makes the women representation high, quite high, 6 females. Is it a feat we can be proud of? Is it a feat we can be proud of, or is there more to be done?
Yes, thank you very much. Looking at the data or the information that you provided based on the 2012 and the 2020 and 2016, I can say that when we talk about participation, women are trying to participate in this, and that is especially for the executive role in our democracy, as compared to the judiciary. Because if you look at our arms of government, we have the 3, we have the judiciary, we have the parliamentary. So if you look at the other sectors and you look at the executive arm, that is where your analysis is being based on, and it's based on how women can be at the top as presidential candidates. All the information that you have provided suppose that women are now participating in presidential elections. But now the issue is, are they winnable, or can they win? That is where the question comes in here. So technically, we can see that the women are improving and they are getting to the top. But will they win? Especially, and I think that the vice rule, that is the vice presidential candidate, because the men are leading. So when they win, then technically they might get on board for being at the top. Because we have not seen in our democracy any kind of precedent that is a woman president in our elections, that is the presidential level. So we believe that it's our time that women, especially on those that are playing the cards. Now we have the president. The president is an issue. because all those who are contesting, will ask yourself, can they win? Do they have somebody say? Do they have the spectrum? Do they have the capacity? Do they have the span to able to assert themselves for them to be voted? That I can say will be no, because when you look at other like Madam Ekua-Donkor, we have other that is the CPP candidate. The question is, would they win? And that is where we need to look at. So I will concentrate much more on the that is the vice president candidates, because when the men win, then probably they will tend to have that rule. In case of any opportunity, then they can be, or they can lead, or they can prepare themselves for that space for them to be asserted for that presidential role. So for me, for participation, women are participating, especially on the presidential slot, but the ability for them to win is where we need to look further, because it becomes very, very critical. And I think that when you look at the women participation for the judiciary, when we compare, I think the judiciary has been one of the areas where women tends to be at the top from all this while on Speaker, that is His Lordship, I think Chief Justice, I've forgotten their names, but you see that they all have a lot of women at it. So the judiciary can be asserted to be one of the areas that women are being on the top. And then even the Speaker, that is the parliamentary democracy, we can say that if we have one or two women, whether it's one woman who was able to be a leader in that kind of. So it's left with the executives, and we believe that as we get along, because that environment is not easy, because you need to go on the ground, you need to be a partisan, you need to be a politician, and at the same time it's expensive to run campaigns if you are. And then you know that women may not have that capacity to have all those funds to be able to compete at those, that is the presidential level. At the same time, you also can say that, the confidence level and the expensive nature of running elections is very, very critical. Now, of late, when you talk about women participation at the local level to become an MP, to become any other role for elections, is expensive. And of late, it's not easy for these women to get involved because of the expensive nature of our elections and our democracy. And that is one thing that is impeding the women in our politics.
Dr. Fie, when you mention money as one of the issues, won't we rather say that that is a systemic thing that is rather causing that? Because if there's parity, there's gender parity, and women are making the same as men, and women are getting the same opportunities as men, then they would have they'll have as much money to also get on the grounds. Because from your submission, it goes to suggest that because women don't have enough money as the men do, that is why they are unable to go for certain roles like these.
Yes, and you have to source for funds. You need to, and those people that will invest in you should tend to believe that you win. It's not like that simple, because if you want to source for funds, women need to have that room for them to be able to invest in those agenda, and that is what is limiting most of the women to be able to generate enough funds for their campaigns. And the perception of women being in those higher levels means of other cultural issues and other kind of, and that is a certain perception that needs to be removed or to be worked on, so that women may have that freedom, women may have the ability to able to move to that level. We have a cultural background where women are not mostly at the top, not at a certain level of our leadership, but education is making it possible now for women to go into it. And so now, when it comes to that level, assuming that I want to be a president, and you need to source for raise funds, what will people have confidence in you for winning and for you to get those funds? And that is where the issue comes in. And also, to become an independent is something that will not work for women who go for independent candidature, because it can't make a difference. But if you attach yourself to a party and that party is strong, then seriously, you may have a certain kind of, and we thank the government that passing the affirmative action that will encourage more women to leadership, where we will give more opportunities for women. And that is also one of the great things that will help women to be to leadership, because nowadays, if you don't have 5 million Ghana cedi, you can't even work for an MP, or you can't just work yourself for an MP. And so that they can be one of the presidential candidate for the party, so that we can have that agenda. If that thing works, then we believe that one day we may have a female president for our country.
In your estimation, that's one day, how many years should we look at?
I think if, as I said earlier, if it is independent, that one will be something that is difficult, because now independent candidates in our elections, you don't have any much to be desired. Again, I'm saying that if we want to see that women to become president, then they should attach themselves to presidential, that is, political parties that are strong, and therefore then the political parties need to ensure that they groom these women so that they can, because as they groom some men, in politics, you see that you can identify 1 or 2 people that these political parties are grooming them. Do we talk about the same for women? So women need to be groomed. Women need to be supported that is the agenda of these political parties. And I believe if we can able to do that, then we can have our next election being the leader, especially because if the NDC is having a vice president, if they win, then we have a vice president, the first woman vice president. So, and they can work on maybe the next election they can make her the presidential candidate. If that doesn't happen, then it behoves on the parties to ensure that they groom these women so that the next elections they can have a woman being the president of our country.
Thank you for speaking with us, Dr. Afriyie.
My pleasure, and thank you.
Dr. Samuel Afriyie is a political scientist at the Kumasi Technical University, and this conversation on the female factor on the journey to Jubilee House. And he says that the parties would have to groom the women in their parties if they're expecting that they become leaders of the country, they become the leader of the country in the coming years, using NDC as a case in point that NDC has a running mate who is a woman. If NDC wins the elections, NDC can leverage on that to present her in the elections after, so that she can become president of the country in the near future. This is how we end politics today. We'll be back very shortly. Stay with us. Beautiful week. It's been an engaging week, and we are grateful to you that throughout the week you have been watching ABC in the morning on ABC News GH. We do not take it lightly that you spend your time watching us here. For more news, you should visit our website, www.abcnewsgh.com. Also interact with us on our socials at abcnewsgh_. Our YouTube channel is ABC News GH. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so that you are the first to receive anything that we are doing on ABC News GH. We are going into the weekend, and I want to encourage you that make the weekend worth it. Today, many lawyers have been called to the bar. We wish you all well, and we hope you have a swell time at the bar and you do amazing there. My friend Janet Chumesi has been called to the bar today, and I wish you well, Janet, and we pray that the bar is very beautiful for you and you achieve all that you seek to achieve there. We are going into the weekend. Do well to be a light in somebody's darkness. Do well to be a rainbow in somebody's cloud, and do well to be a positive force as we get into the weekend. We hope to see you back next week on Monday, refreshed, in good spirits, and experiencing the best of it. This is how we bring ABC in the morning to a close today on Friday. And like I said earlier, today is the International Day for the Girl Child. Do well, purpose in your heart that you will amplify the voice of the girl child. Let's end the weekend with Famea saying that very soon, very soon.